Tampa Bay Bucks Super Bowl 55 champ Shaq Barrett coming at you live for NSPN Next Gen Sports. Go like and follow NSPN for total coverage of all team and combat sports, live shows, plus exclusive player interviews and unprecedented sports content creation.
Aren't you loving life in Tampa Bay? Nothing like being defending Super Bowl champs, Stanley Cup champions, American League champions. This is Outkick. Join me every Sunday morning at 10. Let's talk our teams in the hottest sports market in the country. Never too early to talk Buccaneers or check in on all the teams in Tampa Bay. It will be your best hour of sports. The Outkick Show, powered by Guerrilla Marketing. Sunday mornings at 10 on 102.5 The Bone. Sports media has evolved. Introducing NSPN Next Gen Sports, your number one source for all team and combat sports. Live shows, breaking news, esports tournaments, and interactive sports content like never before. Like and follow NSPN on our Facebook page for your chance at this month's fan giveaway contest. And tune in every Sunday at noon for exclusive video access to my Outkick Show interview. NSPN Next Gen Sports. Outkick here. I have to tell you about my amazing pampered experience at Daniela LaCorey Styling Studio. First of all, I love what she did with my hair, but it's the entire experience that truly sets her apart. You walk in and chances are she's playing your favorite music because she cares. She pours you your favorite adult beverage because she cares. It's gone from haircut to a truly relaxing time only at Daniela LaCorey Styling Studio. Haircuts, men and women, full spa treatments, hair color. Get it all with Daniela. Check her out on Instagram at Daniela LaCorey or book her on the Booksy app at ladybarberdaniela.booksy.com.
Stand by.
Tell her how Keck sent you and get $10 off your first service, plus neck and shoulder massage. Daniela LaCorey.
Stand by, Leo.
Studio. Outkick here from my friends at Family Lawn, Pest, Handyman, and Housekeeping. I'm all about saving money and saving time, especially when it comes to maintaining my home. These people are 4-in-1. One provider for my lawn, pest, handyman, and housekeeping. I don't have to call 4 different companies, receive 4 different estimates, have 4 different strangers come into my home and write 4 different checks. I simply call Roger and Paula at Family Lawn and Pest. Sign up for a year and leave the honeydews to them. Get a free estimate. Call 813-526-8111. That's 813-526-8111. Tell them Al Keck sent you and get $250 off your first year or 20% off your first month. It's Family Lawn and Pest and so much more. Medical marijuana made easy. See if you pre-qualify for your Florida medical marijuana card free of charge, 100% risk, obligation, and judgment-free with Fast Track Cannabis Clinics of America. You're talking Tampa Bay's #1 choice for compassionate care with business professionals. Discreetly begin your road to relief by dialing 813-358-CARD or visit www.mycannabiscard.com. That's 813-358-2273. And make sure to tell them that Al Keck sent you for $30 off new patient enrollment. Ask about military and senior discounts. Fast Track Cannabis Clinics of America. With uncertainty at an all-time high, securing what matters most has never been more important for your home or your office. Prevent disaster and make life easier. Try a security and home automation system from Alarm Engineers, Inc., Tampa's trusted leader for more than 30 years. State-of-the-art security systems, award-winning monitoring, and now full-spectrum smart home solutions. Alarm Engineers, Inc. has everything your home and office could possibly need and will work with any budget. Book a free security or smart home consultation today. Call 813-948-4000. That's 813-948-4000. And get your first month free by telling them Al Keck sent you. Alarm Engineers, Inc.
Hey, Stan Arthur here for the I Love St. Pete Facebook group. If you're a business owner looking to connect with tens of thousands of potential new local customers, you owe it to yourself to get enrolled in our Key Tag Rewards program. Since 2019, we've signed up more than 200 local merchants. Sponsor opportunities are available too, such as our group banner ad and even your own custom key tags. Just go to stpetekeytag.com, get enrolled, and get ready to get busy. stpetekeytag.com.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition. And it's been a long time since I've been on here on NSPN and, of course, I Love St. Pete. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. And how do we start off the Sports Web? In case you don't know, you haven't watched this show before, let me go ahead and introduce you to it. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. On tonight's show, we'll have the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions, It's Sports Mag, coming on right now talking about Bucs training camp, Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, that situation kind of sorting itself out. Maybe not necessarily the Watson situation. And then, of course, we'll have Jason Powers on at 9:30, Powers on Sports Podcast. So we've got a lot of things to talk about tonight. So without further ado, let's just get out to him. The legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty. Welcome to the Evolution. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Well, it's not tonight out here in Tacoma, Washington, Peter. We just finished dinner at our Sports International football camp. We had Seattle Seahawks greats Marcus Trufant today. He's the headliner along with the former quarterback Seneca Wallace. So it's been a great day out here. How about back in Tampa? How's it look?
It's been hot. It's been absolutely just unbelievably hot. And of course, a lot of fans right now feeling the heat because TikTok, the Bucs season is almost here. I get it. It's training camp. We're into the second day, but already some troubling things happening to the Bucs. Notably, Cameron Brate on the PUP list. O.J. Howard possibly not starting off. Of course, we knew that with the ruptured Achilles. And now we find out today that Antoine Winfield tested negative after he tested positive. So Bruce Arians thinks basically it could be a false positive, but already the Bucs have been stung by COVID because at the safety position, Jordan Whitehead has gone on the COVID-19 list. So what do you make of it starting out with that tight end position with Cameron Brate and, of course, O.J. Howard?
You know what, Peter? The similarities between the Bucs' first Super Bowl win and their second are frightening. In the first one, the only starter that missed the Super Bowl was Anthony McFarland.
Right.
The only starter that missed the Super Bowl last year was Alex Kappa. And Stinney proved to be a super capable backup.
Mm-hmm.
And they both decided, both times, to bring as many cast as characters back. And, Peter, it's going to happen. They're going to get their share of injuries this year. You don't win the Super Bowl without luck. And understand this. Luck is when opportunity meets preparation.
I like it.
The Bucks had the 13th week as their bye week. They had to play 4 games, then another 3. They were the most rested team going into the Super Bowl. That was huge. This year, it's week 9. They're going to play 8, take a break, and then play another 8. And you got a 44-year-old quarterback. So, again, if you look at what's happening at tight end, and I want to fill in your listeners and your viewers.
Please do.
About the Dak Prescott press conference 3 days ago. One of the reporters asked Dak, "Are you vaccinated?" He looked him dead in the eye and said, "I don't know if you can ask that according to HIPAA." And boy, there was a strict silence. Peter, there is not a whole lot of players that are getting vaccinated. And it's because they're looking at this. And let's be honest, there's been one professional athlete, Freddie Freeman with the Atlanta Braves, who got COVID, got sick. It was in a little bit of danger for a day or two, but fought it off. To these guys, it's a whole lot different. To the Olympians, it's a whole lot different.
Right.
And they're wondering, you got DeAndre Hopkins, you got Beasley saying, "I'm not going to get this." There's no reason for it. And again, the NFL is going to have a problem. I don't know if you saw the credential list for media yet, but they're basically breaking the media into 2 groups: tested and untested.
Wow.
And if you've been unvaccinated, you can't get involved with any of the in-person meetings with the players and the coaches. Again, I'm wondering what's going to happen during the season. You got Jerome Whitehead already out. It's going to happen where these guys are going to test positive. It's just going to happen. But what does that mean? To these guys, it may be the flu. We don't know. There is so much conflicting evidence one way or the other. Peter, if you watch Fox News and then you watch MSNBC, you think it's 2 different events happening.
I'm telling you, I do. That's probably why I don't watch the news here, Leo. I probably watch you and try to watch myself and watch some other things because I drive myself crazy. But, I guess I was under the impression that if you get the vaccination, that you're good to go. But of course, now we got a Delta variant, which has been even more potent. We learned today that Frank Wright has gotten it after getting the vaccination. We heard about Rich Eisen and Jason Williams. So I think, look, the NFL is trying to do the best for business. But at the end of the day, I also think they're trying to force the fact of, not having to have, these cancellations on games. And maybe that's the wrong way to think about it, because I get it. It's for unvaccinated players. They're going to be, there's a fine, $14,000. Of course, BA was talking about this. He talked about it last year, beating the flu. You have to talk about it this year, beating the flu. It could be even worse. But what do you do if a player does vaccinate and they still test positive? Do you hold that against the team? That's what I'm kind of looking at.
Peter, it's going to be an interesting situation as to what they're doing. And again, Peter, I just want to get some facts here.
Sure.
They're saying, well, with the Delta variant, people are testing positive for COVID. Who's dying? Who is getting sick and dying? That's what we need to know. Because we don't sit here and say, okay, somebody gets the measles. They've got the measles. Well, who's dying from it? Well,
right.
Nobody. Okay, well, nobody's worried about it.
Right.
We've got to get to a point now. And I don't know if we're there yet. I don't know if we came out too soon. But we've got to get to a point where, okay, what is this doing to people? And what group of people are they doing it to? Now, my daughter's a nurse. And I asked her point blank, I said, are you seeing anything that's common among these people that are dying? She said, Daddy, yes. They're obese. They are so overweight and so out of shape, they can't fight it off. Well, I don't see too many NFL football players like that, Peter. Do you?
No, but I tell you right now, I think, look, the offensive linemen are kind of big, right? So, I mean, that's kind of where you worry about. We're on with the legend himself, Leo Haggerty. Of course, all these guys are in good shape, but I think what the NFL is worried about is, having an outbreak and having to cancel games. And that's what I get back to. What's wrong with putting off some games? But the NFL is stubborn in this. And then on top of it, it's created a problem with some of the players, even back here locally with the Leonard Fournette, who's kind of backed off of it. But, he wants to do the research. I will say this. The reason why I'm not a credentialed media member is because I had COVID 90 days ago and just got the shot the other day. And the first day I got it, I didn't feel any effects. The second day, a little bit different. But here's the thing. I actually had COVID. So the effects on me were absolutely worse. And I can tell you right now, COVID is definitely a real thing. Whether you're healthy or not healthy, it's definitely going to, put you down. But of course, it's different from everybody at this juncture. And of course, at the end of the day, we don't want to see any players miss. We don't want to see any coaches miss. And we've already had coaches walk away from this. So this seems like it could be an ongoing issue here in the next couple of months, right?
Peter, I think it's going to depend on the top 20 players in the league.
Okay.
What do they do?
Okay.
Do the Tom Brady's, do the Aaron Rodgers, do the Patrick Mahomes, that group, that elite group, if they decide as a group not to get vaccinated, you got the NFL backed into a corner, because now your top tier players are just saying, hey, I don't need this. I can get away with it. And Peter, you and I both got COVID.
Sure.
And what my doctor told me is that don't get the shot because you've already had it. Your system fought it off.
You've got to wait 90 days because you have the antibodies. I waited 90 days, and consequently, when I waited, it basically passed me by. I couldn't get credentialed. Wouldn't be credentialed anyway because I'm not fully vaccinated and wouldn't even take a chance at this point. So, there's so much uncertainty with it. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not going to go on there and tell you about all the stuff on YouTube. If you want to go on YouTube, you can go ahead and do that and figure out and maybe waste some time or some hours with the conspiracy theories. But, at the end of the day, I just want to see, once again, like we talked about last year, a full NFL season and not missing superstars. And, of course, that was a big-time key to that Bucs season last year. Not only did they have, not any outbreaks on this team, but also it seemed like almost every other opponent that they met the ongoing week had an outbreak. So there was an advantage for this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team.
Absolutely, Peter. And let's be honest, the NFL does not treat all 32 teams the same.
Right.
Let's go back to the example. When the Denver Broncos had no starting quarterback available.
And the NFL still makes them play, by the way, which is a disgrace. Yeah. Complete disgrace by the NFL.
Yeah, but when the Baltimore Ravens had an outbreak, they backed the game up. Well, guess what? They're not treating everybody the same. And if I was John Elway, I'd have been on the horn immediately to Roger Goodell and say, okay, what's going on? Why did my team have to play? And Baltimore got backed up a week. And Peter, I don't know if you heard what Commissioner Sankey said in the SEC. He said, if you've got a problem with COVID and you don't have enough players to play, you're going to forfeit. I want to wait and see if that happens to an Alabama or a Georgia or a Florida. I want to see if he's got the cojones, and I know that's probably not the word I want to use.
Well, I know what you're trying to use, but that's okay if you want to use it. We'll go ahead.
Yeah, I want to see if he's got the stones to tell Nick Saban or Georgia or Florida that you're just forfeiting your game. You don't have enough players. And I saw this on Twitter, Peter. It was a great line. If Nick Saban would come out on a Thursday and say to the people in Alabama, if our state got completely vaccinated, we'd be in great shape.
Mm-hmm.
Probably by Monday, the whole state would be vaccinated.
Right.
I put a tweet response to that. I said, I got to disagree with you. It'd be done by Saturday.
Of course it would be. Because Nick, everybody knows that Nick runs that state. Let's just put it out there. Nick Saban runs the state. He runs the recruits. If you got benefits from the recruits, he runs that too. And college football looks the other way on it. And I think my problem is the NFL is not consistent with some of these issues. Not only the COVID stuff, but of course, the ongoing litigation possibly of Mr. Deshaun Watson. Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network reports that the Texans are willing to listen to trade offers, but I'm looking at this. I have a problem. In fact, the accusations or allegations, 24 now, going up, and 10 of those are criminal that have been reported to the Houston Police Department. I cannot see any way that a team like the Miami Dolphins, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Denver Broncos gives up multiple first-round picks for a guy, and I get it, he could be a quarterback that could be in this league for 10 to 15 years, but there is so much uncertainty with Mr. Watson, with the allegations and just the NFL and not saying anything about it. And then you're not going to have a deposition from him until next February. I mean, am I in the twilight zone to think that just because Watson settles out of court, that basically the NFL is going to turn the other way and cough?
Peter, I think they are. And here's why.
Wow.
They're allegations. And here's the problem. Until they're proven. And the one thing Deshaun Watson has going for him is he has a completely clean slate up until this point. Now, that doesn't forgive anything if he actually did these things.
Right.
But if he didn't, why is he not playing? And if everything is settled, and I'll tell you what, if these women took the money and settled rather than, okay, I want my day in court, I got to wonder what's going on. Because if it's consensual, it's consensual. That's why they call it adults.
But problem for me is that it is a pattern of behavior. We've saw this type of thing before, and somebody talked to me off air and they said, well, Big Ben he basically got away with rape. NFL still suspended him. Now you're looking at these days and times where everybody's offended by everything. You have the influx of social media. You have the Me Too movement. I cannot fathom that the NFL would not suspend this guy at least 8 to 12 games. 8 to 12 games with all the bad PR. It would be a complete and total nightmare for the National Football League and Roger Goodell.
Peter, I would agree with you if someone would have stood up and went to court. That's the biggest problem. It's hard to punish someone
right
for something they haven't been convicted of.
Right.
And again, that's it. I hate to say this, but it looks like a money grab. And
certainly possible.
That may not be the case.
Right.
That may be a lawyer advising their client, look, you don't want to go to court because you may lose. Take the money and go. And that's the job of the lawyer.
Right.
Is to give their client the best advice. That's what you're paying the guy for.
Well, I want to read these comments, and this is in care of John Barr of ESPN.com. Attorney Rusty Hardin said that 10 women, in all have filed criminal complaints against Watson. 2 have filed criminal complaints, have not filed lawsuits against Watson. This increases the total number of women alleging that Watson committed misconduct to 24. Hardin says we're fully cooperating with the police. We're fully cooperating with the district attorney's office. And when the criminal investigation is over, we'll fully cooperate with the NFL. He also says, as of today, almost half of these women have given sworn statements to the police, and almost half have spoken to the NFL's investigative team. Both processes are very lengthy, and we expect to provide further information to the NFL from all the victims. What do you make?
I just think the NFL wants to stay as far away from this until they have to do something.
Right.
Again, we're not talking about somebody who has been a habitual, there's my SAT word.
Very nice.
A habitual offender. This is the guy who has, since college, not a stain on his record.
Right.
That doesn't mean it didn't happen. Please understand that.
Right.
But the NFL does not want to jump to any conclusion here if it's incorrect. So, Peter, it's going to be a while, and we're just going to have to deal with it. And I'm amazed that the Houston Texans haven't just sat down and said, okay, what's going on? Do you still want to play with us? If he doesn't, put him out to grabs. That'd be it.
Well, the thing is, of course, he's 24, 25 years old. He's a guy that, highly talented, but at the end of the day, the red flags are obvious and you don't know what his value is. Let me ask you this. If you're a general manager of the Miami Dolphins or you're general manager of the Denver Broncos or even the Philadelphia Eagles, let's go hometown team, if you will. Are you giving up 2 or 3 picks along with players for a guy that basically you don't even know it's going to play this year, let alone next year?
I would do it right now, Peter.
Wow.
I would do it right now.
Wow.
You're talking about a guy, say he's got to sit the year.
Mm-hmm.
He's 27 years old. He's a top 5 quarterback in the league. If I can get away with two first-round draft picks, I'm doing it right now. And again, fans have very short memories.
Very true.
Albeit Michael Vick. Okay? Michael Vick, nobody wanted to touch him. The Eagles put him in, and all of a sudden Philadelphia loved him. Because it's all about what you can do for me.
Right.
It's a crazy thing. And you know what, Peter? I'm not at the Bucs training camp this week because I'll tell you what, I have never seen this situation before, but the Bucs drafted 6 or 7 players. What was it?
Well, 6 players, I think. Yeah, 6 players. 6
Bruce
players.
Arians said that there's 5 spots open. One of the guys they drafted isn't going to be there.
It's a good problem to have. It's a really good problem to have. That shows the depth of this team, and it shows how many players you could just basically slot in, or if you have an injury, one of those players is most likely going to be on the practice squad unless he gets picked up by another team. But it's a good problem to have. It's different from years past with this team, right?
It's funny. I listened to a publication talk about the battles at training camp. There are no battles. The only battles at training camp will be if someone has a significant season-ending injury.
Well, you got to knock on wood when you say that, Leo. Now, come on.
What'd you say, Peter?
I said you got to knock on wood when you say that. You can't curse.
Oh, absolutely.
Please knock on wood.
Yeah, but that's the only way you're going to open up another spot. And the advantage that Bruce Arians and his coaching staff have is they can start installing plays for the season and not worry about, okay, let's see what this guy can do. Let's see what this. They know they've got their top 22 back. They got their reserves back. They are going to be able to start preparing from yesterday for the opener against Dallas. They don't have to worry about trying to find guys. The guys are there. And again, Peter, I hate to say this, and again, they're going to have significant injuries. You just don't go 2 years in a row like that.
Right.
I mean, look what happened to the Bucs the first year. Jurevicius goes down. Allstott goes down. Pittman goes down.
Yep.
They had people going down right and left, and it's going to happen. I'm just wondering if this 17th game is going to take its toll on people, because we see people lift into playoffs. And I got to go back to Clemson, the first 2 years.
Sure.
That they got there. I asked Dabo Swinney, I said, Coach, what was the difference between the year you went and lost to the year you went and won? He said it was the bye week. We went and had an early bye week, and we had to play 9 straight games before the play. We limped into the playoffs. The second year we had the bye week 6, week 7. We were ready. We were refreshed. We were ready to go. And that's a huge thing. The Bucs have to go 8 games before the playoffs this year. Last year was only 4. And again, Peter, the biggest difference we saw in the Buccaneers from pre-bye to post-bye is they got healthy and they got smart.
They ran the ball.
And it was the smartest team we've seen. Now, granted, everybody says, well, they didn't play anybody. Guess what? Those guys on the other side of the ball are getting paid.
Sure.
They're good football players, and Peter, I'm going to put this one out to you.
Sure, go for
it. Vegas has the line of 11.5 for the Bucs victories. You take the over, you take the under.
I take the over. I think this team with Tom Brady finding out about that, and we'll get back to that in a moment with this torn MCL, him knowing the offense, this team carrying over the momentum. They want to prove that it wasn't a fluke, that it wasn't a pandemic year. This offense could actually be better. And then on top of it, adding a Joe Tryon to that defense. And, the last couple of days, he's looked pretty good. We'll see how that goes. But, that could be a depth piece that comes in handy because, of course, JPP coming off of surgery, he's going to be 100% instead of 60 or 70. And even a 60 or 70% JPP was good last year. A Devin White. I like what the Bucs are doing right now. I'm looking on this schedule, and I see 13 to 14 wins easy, in my opinion.
Peter, the 11.5 has me. I think they go 11-6.
I know you do.
I really do.
I know you do.
And again, here's why. The Bucs want to prove that it wasn't a fluke. You're going to get 17 teams that have them circled on their calendar.
Right.
They are going to be the team they want to play. They want to be the team they want to make sure. And believe me, what's going to hurt the Bucs is they play very few 1 o'clock games. They're going to play a lot of primetime games. In fact, the first 2 games are 4 o'clock games. 4 o'clock games in Tampa. Come on, guys. Let's be real here.
Well, it's kind of better than 1 o'clock, right? I mean, and of course, Arians was talking about the Heat today in training camp. And he says, I think our guys right now are giving in to the heat. Of course, we got to get in shape. I'm not really pleased with the last 30 minutes of either practice so far. Love the fact it gets really, really hot in the second half. It does in games too, especially here. It's something we got to be better adjusted to as we're going to be making plays when we get tired and hot. We dropped way too many passes, gave up too many plays in the second half of practice. Other than that, the first half of practice was outstanding, but the second half, not very good. So once again, BA treating the season as if they didn't win a Super Bowl last year. You like the attitude, but of course, to me, I would take a 4 o'clock game. Maybe not necessarily the start. Of course, it's always hot in Florida, but compared to a 1 o'clock game, 4 o'clock is kind of a relief, right? To me.
Yes, it is, Peter, but you know what the problem with the 4 o'clock game is? Those snakes in the skies, thunderstorms.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the biggest problem. I wish they would not play a game at 4 o'clock in September, only because the heat doesn't bother me. The weather does. I'm just scared to death. And Peter, if we remember 2 years ago.
Well, it was 2000. It was 2016. Me and you, buddy, were eating on. We sat there and we were trying to figure out how many times we could go back to the lunch bar there, provided by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in that media credentialed palace of solitude, if you will. If you know what I'm talking about, if you've been there before, you can go back for as many helpings as you could. And we had to, because at the time there was a storm delay with lightning. Of course, I believe it happened 2 games in a row with the Broncos and, of course, maybe the Raiders. Or no, it was the Rams. It was the Rams and the Broncos.
Yes, it was. And I'll tell you what, I didn't think we were going to get the Broncos game in.
I didn't either.
Because every time you have a lightning strike within 5 miles, it's a 30-minute delay.
Right.
We sat there for over 2 hours before kickoff, and it was just crazy. It was bizarre.
It was.
But you know what, Peter? I'm going to get back on Sunday, and I hope to see you at training camp. You need to get that credential in and tell Danielle, hey, I need to be there. I need to talk. I got 60-some thousand people listening to my podcast here. What are you waiting on?
I love it, Leo. I love it. Got to ask you really quick, and then we'll get you out of here. We're on with Leo Haggerty, the legend himself, here live on the NSPN network. And, of course, I love St. Pete, and 80,000 following, of course, on I Love St. Pete. Got to love it. And, of course, this budding platform and next-gen sports media network. The Aaron Rodgers situation, I mean, this is not going to end pretty, is it? I mean, he's going to be 1 year and he's going to be out of there. How do you feel about this? How do you feel differently about Aaron Rodgers? To me, it's kind of a case of an NBA player taking over the franchise, being very selfish. And I was kind of on Rodgers' side from the organization standpoint of drafting Jordan Love and drafting guys. But now I'm kind of against Rodgers on this. He's kind of, basically held them hostage. How do you feel about Rodgers in this situation?
I have no problem with this, Peter, because if you and I don't think Jordan Love has anything to do with it. It was the fact they didn't draft a wide receiver. They could have got T. Higgins in the second round. There were a lot of guys still hanging around there. Jefferson, who went to the Vikings of all people. The fact that Green Bay didn't draft a wide receiver, that irked him the most. And then again in this draft, they wait till the third round before they draft the kid from Clemson. Again, he is exhibiting from strength. And is he holding them hostages? Yeah, he is. The guy's been there. He's earned his stripes. He's gotten to a point where he can say, hey, look, why is this not happening? And if you want me to come back, this has to happen.
Wow.
And he's been plain and simple about that. And you know what, Peter? The NFL is going to have to start worrying about this, because they're going to start, every quarterback in the daggone league is looking at what Aaron Rodgers is doing. And if the team caves, and I'll tell you what, they better find a way to save face and get this guy under center, because if not, there are less than 500 teams.
Well,
You got to decide, okay, what I can't believe they just haven't sat down, called Aaron Rodgers. What needs to happen to get you in here? Tell us. And then sit down and say, okay, can we do this? If we can't, let's trade him. If we can, let's get it done. I just don't understand why you're looking at a team where this guy is the only reason the Packers are making the playoffs. The only reason is Aaron Rodgers. So, yeah, Peter, it looks like the NBA, and I think the NFL is scared to death that this is what's happening. I wouldn't be surprised if the NFL is calling Green Bay and saying, hold the line, because if you cave, the other 31 quarterbacks are going to look at this and say, oh, okay, maybe I got a little strength to play from.
Well, I'll tell you right now, there's one quarterback, and Buccaneer fans should be happy that he redid his contract, and that's Tom Brady, and he has shown the blueprint, ladies and gentlemen, and quarterbacks that are possibly watching this show. You don't necessarily have to have the most money in order to make it work. In fact, if you take less money and you give the team the opportunity and the flexibility, if you will, to sign other players, who knows, consistently, you can go to the playoffs and possibly win a Super Bowl. And of course, we're always winning a Super Bowl here with Mr. Leo Haggerty, the legend himself. Go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television.
Go to www.itsportsmag.com. We had as our guest on It Sports Mag TV, Jason Neely, who's the head of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. A very inspirational 30 minutes. He's the head of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes for the Low Country down in Charleston, South Carolina.
Love it.
And if you're looking for some motivation, go to that. We're going to post it tonight or tomorrow. It'll be up for at least 5 or 6 days. And I'll tell you what, Peter, I'm trying to get out to Seahawks practice to see about Russell Wilson, the other contrite quarterback. There's my semi-SAT.
Very nice. Today. You're full of it tonight.
But, and again, there's another guy who's got a complaint. They haven't put an offensive lineman in front of him in 5 years. So we'll see what happens.
But here's the thing, Leo. Consequently, he has one of the richest deals in the National Football League. So it's like, look, dude, if you want an offensive line or you want wide receivers or you want nice toys to play with, you got to take a little bit less money. It's okay. Instead of taking that, 41, 42, because people, well, Dak Prescott deserves $44 million. Maybe he does. Maybe that's the market value. But at the end of the day, are the Cowboys going to be any better? In fact, show me where a quarterback signs a big time deal and then eventually their team takes off or they progressively get better. No, they actually regress. Joe Flacco is one. Matt Ryan is one. All these guys signing these big time deals, God love you, okay, because it's America and you can make that money, but it's not necessarily good enough for the team. Just saying.
You know what, Peter? Here's the funny thing. When Patrick Mahomes signed that monumental deal, everybody thought, wow, he has just broke the bank. You look at what the Kansas City Chiefs did. Yeah, they threw it out over 10 years.
Sure.
But it's going to look damn good in about another year or two when he's going to be worth about $50 million and they've got him locked up for another 7 years.
Yeah, well, he'll probably go to his team and say, you know what, I'm unhappy and I'm going to hold out and not show up. Oh, wait, that's Aaron Rodgers did that already. Good stuff, Leo Haggerty. Thanks a lot for your time here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television on NSPN. And, of course, I Love St. Pete.
We'll talk to you next Monday, Peter. Have a safe day.
All right, my friend, there you go. Traveling Leo, let's go ahead and read these comments, and then I will get out to Mr. Jason Powers, the power man himself. We need better cornerbacks, cut Davis and Bunting. Look, you've been trying to push this narrative forever now. I don't know what you're watching. I love you as a fan here, but there's no way they're going to cut a Davis and a Bunting and, of course, a Dean. And I think they did a great job versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Did you see that defense? Did you see those corners? Did you see that back end when they play defense, team defense? They're not going to get rid of them. Look, Carlton Davis is coming up on a big year in free agency. He's got everything to prove at this point, and we'll see what he does in 2021. Richard Chirocco, one of the first, if not the first, video caller here on the Sports Web. Hello from LA. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Appreciate you. Christopher Cole says, hey, Peter and Leo. What's going on, Cole? Robert says, what's up, guys, from Albuquerque? I love this. This is what I love. This is worldwide right here. Let me go ahead and fire these. All right, I tell you what. Hold up here. Let me go out to a call. Jason, stand by, buddy. This is what happens when you schedule people. Todd, welcome to the Sports Web on NSPN, and, of course, I Love St. Pete. What do you have to say, my friend?
How you doing, Peter?
Doing good, buddy. Long time no here.
I've been busy, but listen, it's training camp time. Football's in the air.
Yes.
I'm ready. A quick question for you.
Go for it.
Do we know how long Cameron Brate's going to be out? And the reason I've got a reason for asking that.
I'm not ready to say how long it's going to be. I'm not really sure about that. So to tell you the truth, I really don't know that. Probably can ask Jason Powers, and maybe he'll go ahead and be able to find that out, but I'm not really sure. I know they put him on the PUP list. I saw today Michael Thomas for the Saints is on the PUP list, and he won't play until week 7, but I'm not sure how long that's going to be. Hopefully it's not until week 7 for Cameron Brate. So I'm not really sure about that, but of course that would give me some cause for concern, right? You have Brate, who's gone on the PUP list, coming off an injury, of course, which you come to find out. A lot of these players playing through those injuries, which is tremendous in itself. And then, of course, O.J. Howard coming off a ruptured Achilles, and he hasn't been in training camp yet. So we'll see how that works out. Of course, you have Gronkowski, who's in the fold, and then whoever backs them up, good luck. So definitely want back Brate, and you also want Howard back.
Well, that was my that was going to be my comment about O.J. Howard, Peter.
Right.
If O.J. Howard gets in there and he's healthy, and Cameron Brate sits out a few games, hopefully we get Cameron back, because Cameron's a great red zone guy for Brady.
Sure.
But this is a time, if Brate's out a few games, that this is a time where O.J. Howard can really step up, show what he has, because he does have the athletic ability. He's got to stay healthy.
He's got all the potential in the world. We talk about this every single year, it seems like, with Mr. Howard, right? I mean, he has flashes of brilliance. People want to trade him away. They want to trade Brate away. And the reason why you can't trade any of them, because Brate, when he's on the field, is highly productive, but he has his injury concerns. And, of course, Howard can't see the light of day because he can't stay healthy for the majority of his career. So you're in a quandary at this point. Thank God for Rob Gronkowski, who, look, when the Bucs acquired him, they never thought he was going to play every game, and he absolutely did and played so damn good for this offense. So you would definitely like to have Brate and Howard back in the fold because it strengthens that position even more. What else, Todd?
Well, I mean, you hit it right on the head, Peter. And I mean, Gronkowski played with Brady all those years in New England. They know each other so well. They showed that in the Super Bowl last year. And I just think this is a time, if Howard can get himself healthy, get his mind right, he's got all, like you say, he's a freak. I mean, he's got all the athletic ability in the world.
Yeah.
He could be one of the best tight ends in the NFL if he stays healthy and uses his ability.
No, absolutely. He is. And that's what it comes down to, the ability, the potential. Can he put it all together? It's a big year for him, because if he can't, then basically the Bucs can, chalk it up as a bust and look to move on from him, because they're not going to pay him the type of money that his market value is going to command. And at the end of the day, I wouldn't expect them to. Let me ask you this, with Bucs Super Bowls, and then I got to get you out of here. We're going to get Jason Powers on, the Power Man himself. Definitely use your second call, your third call. Todd, call back anytime you want to. Please don't be a stranger. But
Yes,
with
sir.
learning about Tom Brady and the torn MCL, does it make this Tampa Bay Super Bowl more significant than the first one? Go.
Oh, I think absolutely.
Okay.
Tom Brady played with that all year long, never complained, never said anything about it. Bruce Arians got on him early in the year. We were 7-5, and then we went on a run. And Tom Brady never made a complaint. He never said a word about it. He played football, and that is a tough SOB what he did.
I'm telling you. So does this rank higher in your opinion than the first Super Bowl, or is it always the first one is the best?
It absolutely ranks better than the first one. The first one was sweet, but this one is bigger.
All
It's
right.
much bigger.
Todd, I ask you one final question. I'll get you out of here. What are you looking forward to in this training camp? Training camp battle is at the running back position, possibly wide receiver, because Antonio Brown hasn't practiced. He's coming off an injury, so opening up the door for maybe possibly a Tyler Johnson, a Jalen Darden, the 4th-round pick. What are you looking forward to? Some of the battles in this training camp, my friend.
Well, you just said it, Peter. You're reading my mind. Listen, I'm wondering how much time Bernard's going to get. I think he's going to add another dimension to what we already have with Rojo and Lenny. I mean, he's going to add a different dimension. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's a Sony Michel for Tom Brady.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. I think it's a good addition, and I think that's why I'm looking at the Bucs having 13 or 14 wins this year. Mr. Todd, thanks a lot for joining us here on the Sports Web, all right?
Peter, always a pleasure, sir. Take care, brother.
All right, let me go ahead and fire those cannons. Love that. I love that. Audience participation, it's there for you. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391 on the Next Gen Sports Media Networker. We call it NSPN. And of course, I love St. Pete. Let me go out to David here, read these comments. And I promise, Jason, I will get out to you. Don't get mad at me. Seen on the news last week, not one kid in America has died from COVID that did already have pre-existing health problems. Sandra Nagel, watching the best sports talk show in the Tampa Bay area, the Sports Web with I Love St. Pete and NSPN. Let me go ahead and fire those. Brandon Spike says, hello, Buccaneer fans. Troy Polamalu, free Watson. NFL is blackmailing Watson. I doubt that. A lot of people would say it's the Texans. Screw the dang Texans. Roger Shoe says, great show. David says, I seen a sports article where they said Philadelphia was looking at Watson. Yes, because they have the draft potential. They have the draft capital, multiple first-round picks, and, of course, Jalen Hurts. J.C. Allen, Joshua Cole Allen, formerly a Bucs Report, and now with Peter Report. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television, Mr. Peter Blake. Appreciate you, buddy. There are back of the roster battles, Leo. Absolutely. Roger Shoe says Bucs lose opener 8-8, and I think you're trolling me. Go ahead and do that. Watson needs to hire Morgan and Morgan for the people. That's pretty funny. I like that. What are the Bucs going to do when the NFL suspends Brady? That's something we could talk about with Mr. Powers. Richard says, how much of an impact will the vaccination issue affect rookies or backup players? If someone is on the cusp and one player is not vaccinated versus the other player who is, most likely the team will pick the vaccinated person. Agree or disagree to a certain extent? Agree. Because I think, look, if you're talented, they're going to figure out a way to keep you whether you're vaccinated or not. But if you're in the realm of fighting a battle and you're not vaccinated and the other person is vaccinated, I think they keep the player that is vaccinated. I do. As crazy as that sounds. What's going on, Peter? What's going on, Brandon? How you doing? Let me go ahead and fire those. Rob says, Peter H. Blake, awesome show, brother. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Brandon, thank you very much, Brandon. Appreciate you. How's it going? It's going great. Definitely get on the phone line, 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. Peter loves to talk about the back end. Very funny, Joshua Cole. Once again, congratulations to my man, Joshua Cole Allen, on his new job with Pewter Report. My friend, will get you on the sports web very soon. Definitely. And Robert Horton absolutely will fire those candidates. So we run a little late on this show. We try to be as structured as possible, but sometimes it doesn't happen that way. So let me go out to the power man himself.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Let's go out to Jason Powers here, a Powers on Sports podcast. Sorry, I'm late, but all these comments, all this interaction, can you feel it, my friend? Training camp, the second day, football season is right around the corner. Welcome to the Evolution on Sports Talk Television. How you doing tonight?
Peter Blake, how you doing, my man? First off, 2 questions for you. One, congratulations on your new affiliation with NSPN. Awesome news for hear that, and obviously this I Love St. Pete platform. Continue on with them. First question I got to ask, with you and Leo, how many trips to the buffet did you take up in the press box on those fruitful days with the weather delays? Under 5? Over or under 5?
I said about 3. Okay, maybe I'm right about that, but I tell you right now, the thing is, you can take unlimited trips when you're
yes.
in. But when it comes to the halftime, they usually serve the bananas Foster. You can only get one of that. You can only get one helping. That's it. Because you don't want to go up there and try to get it. You don't. But you can get unlimited. But you're exactly right. And the great thing about hanging out with the great Leo Haggerty is you're always going to eat well. So I'm definitely going to put on those LBs when I'm around him. Now, I got to give it to you because we've been talking about this Aaron Rodgers situation ad nauseum. And now it comes to a head today, according to Ian Rappaport. By the way, no Adam Schefter. I mean, where's Adam Schefter on this? Oh, wait. Yeah. That's what you heard today from Adam Schefter. Absolutely nothing. Ian Rappaport, some of the friends were reporting that Rodgers was going to go back and report to Packers camp. And now we come to find out that they're going to redo his contract. Not only are they going to redo his contract for 1 year, but also promise him that they're not going to franchise tag him. So basically, Aaron Rodgers becomes the LeBron James of the National Football League. He determines where he's going to go in the future. How do you see this?
If you recall, Mr. Blake, I told you we talked about this all throughout the late spring and the summer. I told you he'd be in Green Bay. I thought he might sit out a couple of weeks of camp, but he doesn't want to pay the $50,000 in fines every day for wasting the money. He didn't have as much leverage as everybody thought he had. He wasn't ever going to retire. I don't think that was ever an option for Aaron Rodgers. It's an amicable relationship as far as they both get a little something out of the deal. They cut a year off the contract where he can theoretically leave Green Bay after the 2022 season. He's going to have a little freedom. They're probably going to pay him a little bit more money this year in the next couple of years. But he was never not going to play football this year, in my opinion.
Now, of course, Devontae Adams tweeted out, or I believe they Instagrammed out a picture of him and Rodgers, and everybody assumed that. Yeah, I guess he tweeted out a picture of Scotty and Michael Jordan, and then tweeted out a picture of him and Rodgers, insinuating that this could be the last dance. Of course, we've heard rumors that Adams is not necessarily happy, and of course, he's not going to be happy with Rodgers leaving. So could this have an impact on that locker room? Do players look at Aaron Rodgers, even though he's somewhat of a leader? Has he really acted with those leadership qualities in this offseason, in your opinion?
I mean, has Aaron Rodgers ever been the leader of that team, really, from a leadership perspective? I don't think so. He's always been a pretty quiet guy, at least on the sidelines. You've never really seen him do a whole lot of barking. And, if he was a leader of the team last year in the NFC title game when it was 4th down, he would never have allowed the floor to make him run off the field and kick the field goal. The leadership would have been, hey, we're going for it here. Wave the field goal team off the field. We're going for it here. So I don't think so. I think most of these guys are professional enough to know the situation. Rodgers is going to be professional enough once he gets to camp. It's going to be about football, and it's going to be about doing the best they can to win games for the Green Bay Packers. I think there won't be a big issue. Now, if they get off to a slow start, or if they struggle out the gate and they're a 500 football team, then I think you could see some animosity build up the back half of the season. But as long as they're still in contention and a contender in the NFC, I think you'll see a pretty calm and pretty united locker room.
Do you think fans will embrace Rodgers still, or do you think you'll hear some boos and then once he throws that first touchdown pass, everything is forgotten and forgiven?
Yeah, you're going to hear some people boo initially. Again, you won't see Rodgers play, if at all, in the preseason. That first game or two, if he struggles at all in the first home game, then yeah, you'll hear some boos. But I think ultimately, once you see Rodgers get back on track, if he's back on track having another great year, the fans will be on board. The fans will understand the situation. What I want to see out of Aaron Rodgers is I want to see a press conference where he comes out and says what he really wanted. He's never done that in all this time in the offseason. Never come out and said, this is what I'm not happy with, or this is what I really want. He's always done it in a very mysterious, innuendo kind of way. Come out and say what you mean, Aaron. The fans will respect you, your players will respect you, and people in the media will respect you more if you come out and say what you want or what you're looking for.
And we're on with Jason Powers on Sports podcast here on the Evolution on NSPN. And of course, I love St. Pete. With all that being said, is this a disturbing trend in your opinion for basically players taking control? Because I got an opinion about this. If Aaron Rodgers wants this to turn around, he would take less money like a Tom Brady. Of course, Russell Wilson had complaints about the Seahawks, but he has one of the richest contracts. I think it's going to come with Dallas. So could this be a disturbing trend for teams in saying not only quarterbacks are getting the most money, as they should, but on top of it, they control their situation? Are you worried about that happening more and more?
I'm going to say no, only because there's only a handful of quarterbacks in that league that truly have that superstardom profile where they can, I won't say dictate to the franchise. Even a guy like Dak Prescott, I don't think he has that ability to do that. Do you think? I mean, Russell Wilson, potentially Rodgers, maybe even a Deshaun Watson. But had Deshaun Watson not had the issues off the field, the Texans weren't going to trade Deshaun Watson. So I don't think there's a whole lot of guys in this league that have the ability to do what Aaron Rodgers is doing.
Speaking of Watson, do you see anything turning out of this situation? Of course, we learned today from Ian Rappaport, who was a busy man for NFL Network, that now the Texans are open to it. They're looking for multiple picks. In fact, you've heard from other sources, 5 draft picks and possibly players. If you're the Miami Dolphins, the Philadelphia Eagles, even the Denver Broncos, I know how good Watson is, but there's so much uncertainty with the NFL in this case against Watson. Are you trading multiple picks for Deshaun Watson at this point?
I think a team like Philadelphia would do it, even if they knew Watson wasn't going to play this year because of his legal situation. I think Denver would do it because, think about it, Denver still has Teddy Bridgewater, because I'm sure Drew Lock will probably be part of that trade. So they still have Teddy Bridgewater, who could be a guy that could play this year, even if Watson got suspended. Now, I don't think the Dolphins would do it, not knowing what his on-field status would be, because they don't have a guy that they can play outside of Tua. But if Deshaun, I think it's going to turn into a bidding war in this preseason. And one of the interesting things is we've not heard from the NFL yet what their stance is. Are they going to put him on the suspended list, the commissioner's list? What are they going to do with him as far as his playing status moving forward? That, to me, is going to dictate which teams are involved in the mix. If he's eligible to play this year for some reason, if these civil cases go away, I think the Dolphins would be in the mix, absolutely. But if there's a pretty significant chance he's going to get suspended, whether it's 8 games or even potentially the full season, I still think a team like Philadelphia or Denver would make that trade, knowing they're still going to not get him until this time next year.
And see, like I look at the Miami Dolphins earlier on in this process, and I would have traded a Tua and possibly an Xavier Howard and possibly some picks for him. But now I'm going to roll with the Tua. I'm going to roll with the Xavier Howard and that defense and take my chances at this point, because there's too many red flags at this juncture. And you're exactly right. The silence by the NFL tells you everything you need to know. And I think the situation has kind of changed. And maybe the Texans kind of got, tipped off, if you will. Maybe this is just me making that assumption because all of a sudden they weren't going to trade this guy. They had no inclination, Leo word, of trading this guy. And now all of a sudden they're going to trade this guy. Something's up here.
They're going to get a sizable haul for Deshaun Watson. He's at 25, 26 years old, prime of his career. They've got him signed to a long-term contract. They redid his deal. So he's going to get, as far as money-wise, the salary's where it needs to be. They're going to get a haul as soon as they figure out what the suspension is going to be, if there's going to be a suspension from the NFL. Denver, Philadelphia, in my opinion, one of those two teams is going to pay a fortune for Deshaun Watson. In Miami, I think Miami might roll with Tua this year, obviously, instead of Deshaun Watson, because Miami this time next year, they could still make a move for a guy like Aaron Rodgers a year from now if they're on the cusp of a championship-type team. Be a perfect spot for Green Bay to trade him out of the NFC. You could trade Rodgers to Miami, which I think he would like going there because of the media market and all that. So I think Miami's a viable spot for either Watson next year or even an Aaron Rodgers next year if Tua doesn't pan out to be the type of guy they're looking for.
And I'll make you a bet, Jason Powers, that he doesn't get traded at all. In fact, he gets suspended by the NFL, and most likely 8 to 12 games. It may be even more than that with the 24 allegations. I get it, they're allegations, but this is not 2001. This is not 2000 with Big Ben. This is a social media climate where you have the Me Too movement, where you have bad PR, and if something like the NFL just saying, you know what, Watson is going to settle out of court, the NFL is absolutely going to suspend this guy. Whether he's guilty or he's innocent or not, he's going to get suspended. I think his value is not there. We'll make a little friendly wager. I don't think he gets traded at all. I think he's still with the Texans. In fact, I think he's suspended.
That's even more reason, in my opinion, that he's going to get traded because the Texans don't want the PR nightmare that's going to go with Watson. Even if he gets suspended and comes back and plays next year, there's still going to be a black cloud over Deshaun Watson's name. So I think Houston wants to say, get him the now, if we can get a haul, a first-round pick or two and a player or two, get him the hell out of Houston and let it be somebody else's problem.
But, Jason, who is going to trade for him? Who's going to give them multiple first-round picks and a player for a guy that basically is suspended for the majority of the year? I don't see it, bud. And
Philadelphia is going to be tanking this year. They're not going to be very good. Philadelphia would do it, and I think Denver and John Elway would do it in a heartbeat. Again, it's a risk. There's no doubt it's a risk for both those franchises. But in this league, if you don't have a trigger man who's a big-time quarterback, you can't win the title. We know that. With Jameis, we thought Jameis was the guy. And if you don't have the big-time trigger man, you're not going to win a Super Bowl.
All right, speaking of suspensions, a lot of people mention this, and we got a comment here from the Troll King and Mr. Roger Shue that believes that Tom Brady could actually be suspended, of course, not divulging of the injury by the Buccaneers, and, of course, Tom Brady with the torn MCL. Can you see the NFL possibly suspending a Tom Brady? Most likely a fine or some draft picks, not a suspension for Tom Brady, right?
Zero chance in hell.
Okay.
Now I could see the league fining the Buccaneers $100,000 or a couple $100,000 for not divulging it last year. I could definitely see the league doing that and maybe stripping them of a 6th, 7th round draft pick. But there will be no suspension. It's not Tom Brady's fault. It's the organization's fault that they didn't report it. It's not Tom Brady's fault.
Right. Well, a lot of people will say, well, Tom Brady knew about it. And, of course, it was divulged that he had an injury before he signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I always go back to this. The Bucs took a risk. It was a great risk, but it was probably a reason why there's some teams out there that didn't necessarily look at a Tom Brady. Maybe the San Francisco 49ers, they thought he was hurt. The Bucs knew he was hurt. Can you imagine if that does not work out and he doesn't play a whole season with the money you invested in him? I would still do it all day long because at the end of the day, it's Tom Brady. Of course, we got Jason Powers, the Power Man.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
I'm your host, Peter Blake, live here on NSPN. And, of course, I love St. Pete. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, again, Peter Blake. So, 727-255-0391. Go ahead.
Do we even know really when Tom Brady was injured? I know he said all last year. Does that mean week 3, week 6, week 1? He might have hurt himself in training camp for all. because the Buccaneers put him through a physical before they signed him back in the spring of last year. It's not like they just said, here's the contract, Tom, do whatever you want. They all go through a physical. I mean, and the other thing I'm going to say is, if he did have a torn MCL the whole year, what does that tell you about what the really significance of an MCL injury for a quarterback really is? He didn't show any signs of limping. He didn't show any signs of really not being able to move around. It's not like he was laboring in the pocket last year at all. So I'm still skeptical about when he really got hurt. And if it was a partially torn MCL versus a fully torn MCL, only Brady and the doctors and the Buccaneers know exactly the full extent of that injury, to be honest with you.
Well, the talk is that this injury was ongoing even when the Bucs signed him in the free agency process, that he had some type of knee problem. And, of course, who knows when he got hurt. But has the NFL, should they change their rules on this where teams have to divulge their injury information, kind of make it like the National Hockey League with the upper body injury and the lower body injury? I mean, because it really serves no purpose. Where's the advantage for the team hiding an injury? The person is still injured.
Well, the reason they have injury reports and the reason they have to put out an injury report on Wednesdays and Fridays is what, Peter? Gambling in Las Vegas. Fantasy. The point spread.
Yes.
That's why the injury reports are so important from a media and the public perspective, is because the prevalence of gambling. And that's to me the number one reason injury reports are what they are. And two, that's why the NFL comes down hard on teams when they don't properly report injuries, is because of the perception of, is a game potentially ever going to get fixed? Could a game be seriously altered because of injury report news and things like that in Las Vegas? And for all of the gamblers around the world and around the country that are betting with their local man.
So no suspension for Tom Brady. You don't foresee
No.
it? Okay. No. So there you go. Jason Powers right there. Let's read these comments. Brady wins another Super Bowl in 2021. 2021, Brady wins another Super Bowl with the Bucs, then retires. 2022, Rodgers signs with the Bucs. We were talking about this off air. Yeah. I mean, is this a possibility? People keep on. I get it. We haven't been to the season, and I said it best here a couple months ago: Super Bowl or bust with the Bucs bringing back all their players. But come on, would they go out and get Aaron? Would Aaron Rodgers come to Tampa after this? I mean, seriously, come on. Brady's going to play until he's like 55, right?
Well, the Bucs are not going to kick Tom Brady out the door for Aaron Rodgers. But if the timing worked out, if the timing all of a sudden worked out where Brady at the end of this year or next year said, you know what, I'm going to retire, it would be a perfect fit for Aaron Rodgers. Because remember, again, you do have Kyle Trask, so you have to be aware of that as well. But it'd be a perfect natural transition from Brady to Rodgers. Now that he would be available, sunny weather, great climate, great place to live. He's never been in a warm climate. Why wouldn't this be a fit for Aaron Rodgers a year or two down the road? And again, 2 years down the road, the Buccaneers roster is going to be way different. There's going to be a lot of guys that are on this team today that won't be on this team in 2 years. But if the Buccaneers replenish the roster in a quality way, why couldn't Aaron Rodgers to Tampa be the transition after Tom Brady?
Why not? Anything is possible this day and age in the National Football League. We're on with the power man himself, Mr. Jason Powers, Powers on Sports podcast. Let's talk about Buccaneer training camp. We're only 2 days in, but a lot of people excited about this. What are some of the things that you're excited about seeing? What kind of battles are you looking forward to seeing coming out of this camp here in the next couple weeks?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of. I mean, there's probably one starting spot that probably would be even debatable about who's going to be the starter. And to me, that's probably at the guard position with Stinney and Kappa. Kappa's probably the guy they're going to go with, but Stinney played well in the playoff run last year. That's probably the only spot where there's any kind of legitimate, potential battle as far as a starting job. It's going to be the special teams guys, the back end of the roster. Who's going to be the fifth receiver? Is it Darden? Is it Tyler Johnson? Scotty Miller? Who's going to be the fourth cornerback? Who's going to be the backup safety? That kind of stuff. That's going to be where your battles are going to be on the Buccaneer roster. And will a kid like Cameron Kinley, the Navy guy, will he have an opportunity to make the roster? I think it'd be a great feel-good story for the organization if he could. But I think your roster battles are going to be middle to the back end of the roster at those defensive back positions, backup offensive linemen, maybe who's going to be the 5th and 6th linebacker for the Buccaneers.
Are you worried about this tight end position? Because Cameron Brate was put on the physically unable to perform list. It says, according to Pro Football Talk, while Brate will temporarily be out of practice, he can return to the field at any time.
Yes.
With O.J. Howard with the ruptured Achilles, a lot of potential with him, but he can never stay healthy. So any concern about this tight end position when you have Gronkowski and a lot of unknown?
No, you got to me, you got plenty of depth. That's one of the deepest, richest positions on the roster. Even a guy like Tanner Hudson could come in and play if he needed to play. I don't think that's one bit of worry at all. You and I have talked about over the last 6 months or so. I would be surprised if Brate, again, unless you have injury concerns, I'd be surprised if Brate, Howard, and Gronk are all on the roster day one. But if they are, they'll make it work. They use a lot of 2 tight end sets. They do a lot of that kind of stuff. So, like the PUP list is, guys can come off the PUP list at any time. We don't know what the injury is with Brate. It might be something minor where he needs a week or so to rehab. And because remember, when you're on PUP, that doesn't take up one of the 90 spots on the training camp roster. So they don't want to burn up a spot with Cameron Brate, who's not practicing for a week or two, when they could have another guy on the roster being there taking some reps. So as soon as he comes off a PUP, they'll have to make a roster move, and one guy will get cut when he's ready to be back in the mix for practice.
All right, good stuff there. Are you watching that wide receiving position? Because we've heard a lot of reports about Jalen Darden. Although he's had his fair share of drops, he has the speed. He's made some catches, he had some drops. It's only 2 days in. Is that a situation where a player like a Darden, who's a 4th-round pick, may steal some time from an Antonio Brown, who's not necessarily ready to practice yet, possibly from a Tyler Johnson or a Scotty Miller, or all these guys, of course, going to contribute this year? But a Jalen Darden, are you looking forward to seeing him in this training camp?
Every year, every team in the league has a guy like Jaden Darden who can run fast, and he wows everybody in training camp the first couple days. Let's see what Jalen Darden can do when the lights are on in the preseason games, when he has an opportunity to go up against non-Buccaneer guys, DBs. That's when I want to see when the pads are on. That's when you're going to see these young guys, how good they are, how competitive they can be, how much physical conditioning they have. That's when you're going to see these guys excel. Again, I think Bruce Arians is a guy that likes Jalen Darden for sure, 4th-round draft pick. He'll most likely be on the active roster. Will he be a guy that's active every Sunday? Probably not, because you have Tyler Johnson, you have Scotty Miller, who they like. And remember, there's a chance at the end of this year Chris Godwin's not on this football team a year from now. Mike Evans is getting older. He probably has a couple more years left before he starts to become a liability from a salary cap perspective. So they're not just going to unload a Jalen Darden. A guy that I think he could take some time away could be a Scotty Miller. That's the guy that, again, it wouldn't shock me if the Bucs made a trade in the preseason, either a Scotty Miller or a Tyler Johnson, if Darden shows that he is truly an impact type of player.
And I would say, no, you don't, because I tell you why. You've had your rash of injuries from last year. Evans with the hamstring issue. Godwin was hurt last year. Antonio Brown coming off an injury. So keep all the weapons that you can keep at this point. We're on with Jason Powers on Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Peter Blake, on NSPN. And, of course, I love St. Pete. With that being said, we found out today that the Saints are going to be shorthanded. Of course, we don't know who their quarterback is, and a Jameis Winston or a Taysom Hill, but they will not have Mr. Michael Thomas until week 7. Big time loss for the Saints, right?
It is, but I think this is festering into something more than we know. For Mike Thomas to wait until the middle of June to have ankle surgery, he didn't get hurt in the offseason. If he had an ankle issue, which we know he had last year, he actually got hurt in the Buccaneer game at the end of week 1 on an innocuous play at the end of the game when the Saints were trying to run up the score a little bit on the Buccaneers is when he got hurt. I think this is a situation where he pulled a Scottie Pippen type of scenario. If you remember from the Bulls, Pippen waited till late in the offseason to have wrist surgery, and he missed a bunch of games early. I think this was kind of a premeditated move by Mike Thomas. I think he's trying to get the hell out of New Orleans, to be honest with you.
Well, I tell you right now, Thomas, they're missing him. You don't have much to back him up. You're putting in a new quarterback in that situation. I get it. Sean Payton can coach any quarterback out, but you also have to have the horses to run it. And even though you have an Alvin Kamara and some talented players on that offensive line, you still have to have guys to throw to. So I don't necessarily think this is a good thing at all. And you actually be right about this with the Thomas situation, because there has been some scuttlebutt, if you will, with Thomas being upset with either his contract or the organization. I just don't know what to think about this guy, to tell you the truth. And to be honest with you, I don't understand what Madden 22 was thinking. Now, I know you're not a video game player, but check this out. You got number 1, Devontae Adams, 99 overall, 115 catches, 1,374, 18 touchdowns. We agree he's the number 1 wide receiver in the National Football League, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's 1 or 2. I mean, that could be debatable. I mean, you could make arguments for him. I guess it's him and Hopkins, right? 1 and 2. Are those the 2?
I mean, 18 touchdowns.
Well, you have to remember, though, Rodgers force feeds him the ball. I mean, if Hopkins was force-fed the ball, if Green Bay had a little bit better second receiver, he wouldn't get force-fed the ball as much as he does. That's a product of the offense a little bit, but he's a hell of a receiver. He's definitely a top 1 or 2 receiver, no doubt about it.
All right, DeAndre Hopkins, 115 catches, 1,407, 6 touchdowns. We agree he's number 2. Tyreek Hill, 87 catches, 1,276 yards, 15 touchdowns, number 3. We agree with that. 98 overall. There's a point here. I'm pointing out the statistics and where it doesn't make sense to me. Number 4, Stephon Diggs, 127 catches, 1,535 yards, 8 touchdowns, number 4. 97 overall. We agree with that, right?
Sure. That's, again, remember, these Madden rankings are based on last year. It's not a career rating. It's a point in time. 2 years ago, would Stephon Diggs have been a number 4 or 5 rated receiver? No, but he had a hell of a year last year because he was with the Bills. He got force-fed a ton of balls, and I know where you're going with this, but it's a snapshot in time.
I'll tell you what. All right, so explain this to me.
Oh, no! We suck again!
And honestly, Madden 22, all the Maddens, they're basically just all the same all the time, and they piss off a lot of Bucs fans with these rankings. Oh, Julio Jones, 95 overall. Get this, ladies and gentlemen. Only played in 9 games, 51 catches, 771 yards, and 3 touchdowns at 5th overall, 95. You got Michael Thomas, who did squat, ranked at a 94, 40 catches for 438, no touchdowns. Keenan Allen, 100 catches, not 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. Amari Cooper, 92, 90 catches, 1,114 yards, 5 touchdowns. And there sits Mike Evans of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. By the way, went down a point, and I get it. Maybe I'm making a big deal about this, but this is the national perspective or the perception of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 70 catches, over 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns. Tell me, how in the world can they rank Mike Evans at number 9 over a guy like Cooper, Allen, Thomas, and Jones? I'll give you Allen, but everybody else is a bum. Come on.
I agree with you. No, there's no doubt about it. I mean, Mike Evans should be above those guys, no doubt about it. I mean, Evans has done a great job of keeping his mouth shut as a Buccaneer. You don't ever hear him complaining about touches. You don't ever hear him complaining about not getting enough balls, especially last year when you brought in Antonio Brown, you brought in Gronkowski, you have the emergence of Chris Godwin. Great job by Mike Evans of just being the consummate professional, an elite number 1 receiver. And guess what, Peter? It's motivation for Mike Evans. It's good for us that he got rated 9 because he's going to have that chip on his shoulder all year long. He's going to be mad. He's going to be pissed off. And when he faces these other teams, he's going to lay the wood when Tom Brady calls his number.
But here's the problem. No other NFL wide receiver in NFL history has went for 7 consecutive 1,000-yard receiving seasons, and you disrespect this man by ranking him at number 9 over Julio Jones, who can't stay out of the tub, Michael Thomas, who can't stay out of the tub and caught, by the way, as many touchdowns as me and Jason Powers combined caught last year. 0. Keenan Allen, all right, didn't get the 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns, not as good. And Amari Cooper. I mean, come on, Madden, do better than that. Of course, we can't do no better than Mr. Jason Powers. Go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television.
Absolutely appreciate the plug. Powers on Sports Podcast. Find us on all the podcast platforms. We got a new episode coming out tomorrow. We're doing some training camp talk. We're going to do some stuff throughout every week during football season. We're going to have Peter Blake on throughout the football season. Our buddy TJ Reeves is going to be on with us throughout the football season as well. So check us out, Powers on Sports Podcast, on all your podcast platforms.
Well, see, he was late, but it was worth waiting for. Mr. Jason Powers, the Power Man.
Yeah,
right there.
baby. Yeah.
Thanks a lot for your time here on NSPN. Of course, I love St. Pete on the Sports Web. Appreciate you. All right, boss?
Keep up the great work, Peter. We'll talk soon, Brent.
All right, man. Sounds good. Let me go ahead and read these comments, and then we'll get out to your phone calls. And if no phone calls, then I got a little story to tell you. The reason why I want to get off early tonight. Well, maybe it's maybe it's not the best story, but it's still a story. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. So let me go out to Eric White. What's up, Peter? What's going on? Troy Polamalu, King Troy, Trojan legend. Welcome to Tampa, Deshaun Watson. That hasn't happened yet, so let's stop. I mean, the guy, we don't even know if he's going to play a game. And that's been, my whole thing. I'm not going to get up here on my soapbox, but 24 women, allegations, whatever they are, still women. Okay, pretty serious allegations there. And whether they settle out of court or not is beside the point. The reason why a player like a Watson has an opportunity to get suspended is because he disgraced the Shield. The NFL is worried about the money machine. And it doesn't look good when you're on TMZ Sports, when you're on ESPN, when you become a story off the field. They don't like it. And then on top of it, the deafening silence. Because they're not going to talk to him until September. So I'm amazed. I'm amazed at any teams. I get it. He's highly talented. That's a red flag. Red flag all day long. Stay away. He's very talented, but a pattern of behavior. So I'd be very surprised if he plays this year. And if he does, no less than 12 games suspended. Just my prediction. All right, so I'm telling you, Watson is going to the Patriots because you know him and Robert Kraft are massage parlor buddies. That's kind of funny. I don't know what I should do on that. Love the show. Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate you. Let me go ahead and fire those cannons. You guys, Bucks time 12. Evans said today that Brady was in a lot of pain. I mean, that's my thing. I think this season is more amazing than it originally was, right? I mean, here's a guy that played through a torn MCL. Again, the pandemic, which is still ongoing, it seems like. Damn it. A new playbook. New guys to get accustomed to, but it is Tom Brady, right? But playing through a torn MCL, I mean, Bucs fans, I said this before, is it more significant now to you when you find that stuff out? Is this Super Bowl more significant than the first one? 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. Bucs time 12. Brady is going to play at least until 45. He hinted that might not be the end to Jim Gray. I mean, who knows, right? He can play for as long as he wants to. I mean, this organization isn't going to force him out. Packers. I mean, but if you look back with the history of quarterbacks, they usually don't walk away, right? They usually get traded, they retire, and then they end up on another team, or their skills deteriorate. We kind of wonder if that's going to happen to Brady. You know, this offensive line did a great job last year stepping up and protecting him. It's a key this year. Still a key. But you got to feel better about it, don't you? I mean, this is the reason why I have so much optimism going into 2021. How could you not? He knows the offense now. He's not learning it. Gronk hit it right on the head a couple months ago. I'm not going to have to learn a new offense. I'm going to know it. It's the comfortability factor. Comfortability. That's a word. Being comfortable. He's going to be comfortable, more comfortable. Taysom Hill. Elizabeth Gonzalez, please laugh out loud. What's going on, Mr. Bucks Nation? Hey, Peter, what's going on? Elizabeth Gonzalez, great stuff here. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Definitely call on the phone lines if you want to join the party. 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. They aren't trading away Miller or Johnson or Brait. In my opinion, OJ has no trade value. Not right now. He doesn't because he hasn't been able to stay on the field healthy. I love OJ Howard. I think the guy will be able to take over games at some point when he's able to stay healthy. We saw that last year at some points, didn't we? We saw what he can do and how he's going to be able to learn under a Rob Gronkowski and learn the intricacies of the game. He just can't stay healthy. So right now he doesn't have any value. Slam Boy was injured running up the score on us. Next year, the Saints will be looking for another quarterback unless Book looks good enough. Ian Book, nobody's talked about him. I think the two quarterbacks that you're considering at this point are Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston. Either one of those is going to be your starting quarterback. It's not good losing your top wide receiver for 7 weeks. That's not a good start. Not a good start at all. I feel like the Saints have to make a trade at this point, unless they're going to be stubborn and run with what they have. Troy Polamalu, King Troy, Trojan Legend SC. They're not women. Come on now. I'm not going to go with that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not. There's a pattern of behavior here. It's disturbing. Tyreek Hill always disappears in big playoff games. He's overrated on Madden. Well, look, I'm a Madden player, and I don't want to make this whole show about Madden football, Madden 22. I don't know if you buy it or not. My friend buys it. I play with him on PlayStation 5, so I don't have to buy it. Not that I would, because it hasn't changed. The game has not changed. It stayed the same. The gameplay is the same. It's always the same. But the rankings are preposterous. I mean, you rank Julio Jones over Mike Evans. And you got Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, Michael Thomas. I mean, were you watching last year? Did you watch how hard this guy played, even through injuries? And you still rank him a 91? I don't buy it. Goodell overlooking Watson allegations. No freaking way. No way. Jameis Winston, Saints Super Bowl 2022 champs. Scott Bradford, hey, it's nice to see your show again. Been too long for me. You know why. Appreciate you, Scott. So, I mean, my question is, what are you looking forward to in training camp? What are the training camp battles? For me, you know where it starts. I want to see this running back situation. And probably it most likely is not a battle that's going to happen. I think it's going to be either Fournette or Jones, and they're not going to select a starter, and whoever starts, they're going to run with the hot hand. But I like to see an eventual winner, and you know who I like to see. But I think it was impressive to see Fournette in that postseason last year. It was. So can he carry that over? Will the Bucs run the ball more? They have more weapons. What about a Jalen Darden? Does he make an impact this year? Because an Antonio Brown is hurt and he hasn't practiced. Is this a lingering thing? More than likely, you're not going to see half of the players you want to see in preseason. You have 3 preseason games, and you're probably not going to see Tom Brady for one of them. Sorry to disappoint you. Get used to Blaine Gabbert, the greatness of Kyle Trask. There's a lot of Gator fans out there that love him, and he certainly looks like he's going to be the future of this team. Still remains to be seen. And, of course, Ryan Griffin. You're going to get to see those players. It's going to be a good thing to see some of these draft picks because you're going to see more of them than guys they're going to start. They're not going to take the chance. They're not going to. But it's nice to have football back. 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. 0391. So here are your starters for the Saints. And again, Michael Thomas, according to Ian Rappaport, will be on the physically unable to perform list. I guess that's not the PUP list. And will not return until week 7 versus the Seahawks. Here are your wide receivers: Traquan Smith, Marquez Callaway, and Deontay Harris. Now, Harris has got some potential. Smith has been productive, but honestly, wow. Saints got to make a move, don't they? Don't you got to make a wide receiver move? Does this make you feel better if you're a Bucs fan, knowing that the Saints don't have one of the biggest weapons in the fold? Knowing that the situation at quarterback is, I don't know, if you will, I think a little bit blurry, a little bit, well, you don't know. You don't know who's going to be the quarterback. Does this make you feel better about the division? 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. Let's go out to Scott. I'd like to see Kyle Trask in preseason. I think a lot of people would like to see him. And I know it's his second day in the training camp. We haven't heard the best about him. We haven't heard the worst. A lot of people lose their mind. Oh, the guy threw an interception. He's a bust already. Crazy talk. Guy calling a bust already. I've seen it on Twitter. Twitter's a cesspool. Can't deal with it. I can't. I try to tweet. I can't do it. God, some people are just too smart for their own good on that place. All right. So according to bets, according to the MGM, they have received $30,000 wager on the Buccaneers to win the Super Bowl at plus 700. So the Bucs indeed repeat. The bettor would win $210,000. Yeah, baby. Yeah, I got to do it.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
I got to do that. I say bet it. Bet it all day long on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers repeating as Super Bowl champions. And I know what some of the pessimists are saying, you know, the people that look at it from the reality standpoint, but there hasn't been a team that's done this in the salary cap era with getting all their players back in the fold. They didn't have a Tom Brady who has that extra chip on his shoulder to repeat. Last time that's been done, Patriots, Tom Brady. You don't think he wants to eclipse that? You don't think he wants the 8th Super Bowl? You don't think he wants to shut up the national media who continue to blab on about this Bucs team being fortunate because their defense carried them? Really? Really? That's what we're saying now, guys? That's what I'm hearing on Facebook and Twitter? I told you Twitter's a cesspool. And Facebook groups can be like that sometimes too. The defense carried them. Oh, okay. I saw something today, a meme, which is always good to see when you're waking up in the morning. Oh, Jameis Winston. Oh, he would have done better with this team. Oh, really? With this defense? Well, consequently, this defense was here. What's changed? Oh, the turnovers. Oh, that's not a big deal. It isn't? Why do you think they signed Tom Brady to the contract? Look, I love Jameis Winston. He's got some things to improve on. Turnover situation is the big one. Make no mistake about it. Tom Brady definitely was a big part of it, if not one of the biggest parts of this Buccaneer Super Bowl. Enough with the revisionist history with Jameis Winston starting. I don't even know why I addressed that. I kind of get like, you know, people just, you know, in the moment, you know, it's in the moment. Well, you know, this would have happened differently, would have been different. Okay, but it didn't. When the guy was here, he wasn't successful. Move on. Now we're going to get a chance to see how successful, he's going to be with the Saints. That's going to be tough without Michael Thomas. So they're going to figure it out. They're going to have to figure it out. Do you feel better about it, Bucs fans? What about the division as a whole? Sam Darnold for the Carolina Panthers? You feeling good about that? I am. Guy's done completely nothing with the Jets, and I get it, the Jets are a dumpster fire, but it's like he's going to turn it around just like that. He's going to turn it around just like that. Christian McCaffrey coming back, I get it. Going back to the odds here. Kansas City is after them. Of course, Tampa Bay being the biggest favorite. Buffalo, San Francisco, Baltimore, and Cleveland. Cleveland, big-time favorite this year. Buffalo, big-time hype. We'll see what happens. Baltimore, I don't trust them. I'm sorry, I don't. Lamar Jackson has to show me something. You have to show me something. You have to show me some consistency. I get it. You make some plays. You have to throw from the pocket consistently, in my opinion. You do. So let's go ahead and read some of these comments, and then we'll probably get out of here for the night. Super Bowl or bust. I mean, that's what I say on my show all the time. I'm going to fire those cannons. Looking forward to seeing Winfield in the second year, see how much better he will be in year 2. I mean, that's a great point. Winfield Jr., the way he played in his first year, guess what? He's going to get better in his second. Tristan Wirfs only gave up 1 sack. Guess what? He's going to get better. You know why? Because they're comfortable. I'm not going to try to say the other word that I did. All right. When Michael Thomas makes it back healthy, we would all be naive to think that Jameis Winston is not going to put some really nice numbers. Look, again, the guy can make every throw in the league. But the problem is the guy can also make every throw to the other team. I've always been fair about it. But until I see it, I'm not going to tout it. Because I've been that person before that's got on this program, on other platforms, for 2 to 3 hours and try to calm people down. That have tried to calm people down to the point of where they're about to jump off the Skyway freaking bridge. And you know what I'm talking about. We have spent nights together where we say, this guy is going to do it, and he's never been able to do it. We talk about it all the time, 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. Can he do it again? Can he cut down on it? I don't know unless he does it consistently. But missing Michael Thomas, that makes me feel good as a Bucs fan. I feel good about the fact that they're not going to have one of their biggest weapons. And the wide receivers I just named off are not that good. They're unproven. They may be good in this offense. Who knows? I know, talking to my friend from Are You Serious Sports Podcast and a Blake Ruffino, why didn't the Saints draft a wide receiver? Shakes his head. I don't know. Clearly, that was a position they may have wanted to look at. You would think they do, but obviously they're happy with what they have. So, all right, let's see. Bucks time 12. Goodell did overlook the allegations already. In fact, they interviewed the victims and did nothing. He's not going to overlook it. They haven't come to a decision yet. They're not going to talk to Watson until September. I'm telling you. I would be surprised if he doesn't get 8 to 12 games or the whole year. This is a different NFL. It would be a PR nightmare. A PR nightmare if something doesn't happen. Whether he's guilty or not. I'm telling you. That's not how it works in the National Football League. It doesn't matter if you're guilty or innocent. What matters at the end of the day is the checkbook. What matters at the end of the day is protecting the shield. In this offseason, what has been the main story? Deshaun Watson. I don't see it. Tom is going to play here at least 3 more seasons. As long as he can perform, Tom will play. If he gets close, he will eye the George Blanda record, and you know he wants 10 rings. Tom is a driven athlete like no other. He is. He absolutely is. That's the reason why you don't doubt him. National media want to doubt him? Okay, torn MCL, still throw for 40 touchdowns. How about that? You like that? I do. You can do it! You can. He can definitely do it. He can continue to do it if you put the weapons around him. He can continue to do it if you protect him. Absolutely. Blanda's record of years played. Eric White. There isn't a team that can stop the Bucs this season in this division. Agree. Which is why I say 13 to 14 wins tops. Tops. You think I'm a homer? I don't care. I said it last year. I'll say it this year. Super Bowl or bust. Prove me wrong. 727-255 0391 at 727-255-0391. Agree with you, Christopher Cole. Can't wait to the season to get going. I can't either. August 14th versus the Cincinnati Bengals. It's the first preseason game. We got you covered here on NSPN. I can assure you. It's time to start putting in that work. We got lots of surprises and lots of announcements coming here in the next couple weeks. Just sit back, relax, and let yours truly do the work. 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. 0391. Jameis still stares down receivers. He hasn't broken that habit. I've seen it. Can Sean Payton get the most out of him? I'm not going to doubt a Sean Payton because of what he did with the Taysom Hill to a certain degree and a Teddy Bridgewater. I'm not. I still think that situation is up in the air. It's murky, which is the word I was looking for before. Thank you. Elizabeth says, Jameis Winston did much better on not throwing interceptions last year. Well, he didn't play that much. Love it. I know who you are. You get to see them better now after LASIK. Well, there you go. Or you play less, but he will still stare them down. Agree. He will. Exactly. Even more so now is what I'm saying. Christopher Cole, Winston almost threw 3 interceptions in the 49ers game if they could catch. Well, that's the reason why, Christopher Cole, they're defensive backs and linebackers instead of wide receivers and running backs. And Eric White is laughing about this. Good. I'm glad. All right. Other news around the NFL here on the Sports Web Live on NSPN. And, of course, I Love St. Pete. Cam Akers gone with a torn Achilles. That's a big-time blow to the Los Angeles Rams, is it not? I mean, the way that kid came on, and look, I get it when you're going to say, oh, you're a Florida State homer, all this other stuff. The guy played well. Well, now it comes out from Sean McVay that he's not going to play Darrell Henderson in the preseason. Why would you? Of course, that's most likely your starting running back. Of course, now the depth is going to have to come in question. Xavier Jones, Jake Funk. Love that guy. Hope he makes it. The Funkinator into the end zone for the Rams. Raymond Calais, that sounds familiar, Bucs fans. He was a Bucs draft pick last year. And Otis Anderson, not to be confused with Otis Anderson from the New York Giants, who ran for, I believe, over 200 yards in the Super Bowl versus the Buffalo Bills. That's not him. No, not at all. So I would not play him at all. We'll see how that works out. Adrian Peterson's out there, possibly a Le'Veon Bell. Other running backs out there, I think they're going to definitely be getting a call. And if the Rams are not investigating an Adrian Peterson or Le'Veon Bell, what are you investigating? Honestly. Let's go out to Scott Bradford. Anyone wants to argue Jameis versus Tom? Jameis, 30 interceptions, 12 fumbles. Tom, 12 interceptions, no fumbles. 2019 tired defense, 2020 fresh defense from the lack of turnovers. So yes, the quarterback play does help the defense for all those that argue Jameis would win with this team. I heard that this morning. I agree with you. I don't even know why we're having this conversation still, but yet we're still having it. You got to love social media. And trust me, I don't have Jameis Winston derangement syndrome, so stop with that nonsense, because I've had Jameis one-on-one on my show before, and I'm not scared to have him on the show again. I'm not. Don't back down from anybody. Don't say you can't be on the show. I mean, you just saw J.C. Allen, Joshua Cole Allen, a Pewter Report. He's welcome. I've known the kid for a couple years now. I mean, this is an opportunity for other outlets to talk and educate us all on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What's the primary goal? To have intelligent Bucs content or conversation. To have enlightening conversation, if you will. To have different perspectives. To have things like that. That's right. Heck, I'm on here. Absolutely. Welcome. I appreciate it. What else in the National Football League? I mean, are you surprised by Aaron Rodgers? I'm kind of surprised. Yeah, I kind of go back and forth on this. I was like, oh, Packers haven't done enough. I mean, we heard about Rodgers drinking himself to death when they drafted a Jordan Love. Although, look, every team has to get their quarterback. But you would think, Rodgers playing at a prime level, you wouldn't do it so soon. But obviously, Rodgers is up there. So I guess I understand it. You draft another running back. Okay. Possibly could have drafted a couple wide receivers. And now we hear that, basically the whole Rodgers situation, they're going to redo his deal. So it was about money. See, I should have expected that. When my dad was alive, he used to tell me stories all the time. It's all about the money. Smart guy. No matter what situation it was, all about the money. That's what it comes down to with the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. So he's going to get his wish. He's going to be the starting quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. They're going to redo his deal, and then he's going to be out of there. And my problem is that there's no quarterbacks in the National Football League that have learned from the greatest of all time, and it's Tom Brady. And I continue to go back to this, and people say, well, you got to get your value. You got to get your value. You can't make up for that. You couldn't redo your deal where the Packers could possibly go after Julio Jones. You couldn't redo your deal so you could possibly go out there and get a free agent wide receiver. I mean, I heard from Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson unhappy. Why? You're the highest paid quarterback in the National Football League. Well, we don't have an offensive line. Why? Because most of the salary cap is devoted to your salary. I mean, I'm not a mathematician here. In fact, I'm very terrible at math. You know this if you watch this show. I'm not great at budgeting money. I'm terrible. I give you a tip on how to get rich in the stock exchange. Don't take it. I'm just saying. So you have a quarterback that's making the most money in the National Football League, and he's complaining about his organization not doing enough for him. So we have those quarterbacks, and then we got Tom Brady. I mean, does it work? Look throughout his career. Look at how many times he's taken less money for the New England Patriots. Why do you think he was so pissed off to leave? He did all this stuff, put his neck out there in the line, took less money, and what did they tell him? We ain't going to go out there and get you weapons. Oh, really? I took less money for you? You can't go out there and get me weapons to throw to? So then the stupid national media pundits say, well, Brady's washed up. He's got 24 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Why? Because he's throwing the milkmen on the sideline. These are not quality wide receivers. I would have been pissed off too. I'm pissed off right now talking about it. A guy that puts in everything into it. And he said, oh, we can't do it. Now, I don't feel bad about Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. You know why? Because they're getting paid money. I don't want to hear anything from Dak Prescott if that doesn't start to work out. Because that's the favorites in the NFC, as you will hear from other national media pundits, because they have the offensive weapons. What about their defense? I was watching the game the other day. It's between the Dallas Cowboys and the Atlanta Falcons. So let me get this straight, Dallas Cowboys. You hired the defensive coordinator where you came back to beat the Atlanta Falcons, and he was the head coach of that team. He had one of the worst defenses in the NFL, and you hired him as a defensive coordinator. Mind blown. Makes sense. Dallas's offense had their best game versus the Atlanta Falcons, and why their defense is putrid. And all you hear this year, the convincing or the people that have all the wisdom, is that this defense is going to turn around in 1 year. Spare me. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. All right, let's go out to Eric. Love you, man. We're all happy to have you on the squad. Life is too short for unnecessary BS. Beef, brother. This about building a family, rallying around Tampa Bay, giving back to small businesses at the same time. The future is bright. Look at my eyes. See the twinkle? The future is definitely bright. All right, Scott Bradford says, Christopher Cole, you are correct. Eric White says, glad to see you, Scott Bradford. Absolutely, brother. Christopher Cole again, preach to Peter. I've been known that. I just don't get it. Like, it's not hard. You know, it's not like doing algebra in college. You take less money. You give your team the opportunity to do it. And then when the team says, you know what, we're not going to do anything, then that's when you leave. So all the Patriot apologists who said, well, why did Tom Brady leave? Hello? He gave you all the opportunity in the world to get him weapons. You got him nothing. Of course he's going to leave. That's why Rob Gronkowski retired. Nothing around him. And on top of it, the body was beaten up. Scott Bradford, the Dallas versus Atlanta game was comical in overtime. It was. And why was it comical? Because nobody could make a tackle. And until the Cowboys do that consistently, enough with the Cowboys are the biggest threat to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Ridiculous. 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. I'm just saying, it makes no sense. I mean, Dan Quinn was a great defensive coordinator. He didn't run that defense there in Atlanta. So he had no responsibility, and you think this is going to turn around overnight? Please. Takes a couple years. Do they have the weapons? Of course. They always have the weapons. Dak Prescott, can he stay healthy coming off an injury? Yes, hopefully. I want to see the guy healthy. He decide a monumental contract extension, which most likely in the future is going to hinder the Dallas Cowboys, no matter if Jerry Jones has all the money in China. It's still going to hurt them in some way. I don't get it. Like, oh, Lamar Jackson's got a big contract. Really? That's what we're shooting for? Okay. Well, it doesn't really help your team out, does it? You better draft well. Still remember Atlanta watching the onside kick. Roll 10 yards. So comical. It was. I got to read that comment again. I love it. Pats can't find a skilled player to save their life, and Jason Light finds them under every rock. All right, let's go on to Travis Feely of Rocket Sports and Entertainment. Travis, welcome to the Evolution here on NSPN and, of course, I Love St. Pete. What are you doing, boss? What's up?
I am finally driving home after a 15-hour workday, my friend. So, unfortunately, some people in this industry get paid, and sometimes I get paid, and sometimes I don't. But darn it, Pete, it's been a long day, but I just wanted to chime in real quick on this Aaron Rodgers situation. I'm sure you've been talking about it.
Yeah,
Look,
Travis, I was taking this guy's side, and I feel like a complete idiot because, honestly, this is not about the Packers and their organization. This is about redoing a contract and getting him the hell out of there. And basically, he is LeBron James this situation to the fullest, right?
Well, what he did is, the Packers won in this situation. He lost, the Packers won in the grand scheme of things because now they can get rid of him next year without an issue, and he can go and play house with Shailene Woodley or whatever the heck her name is. And when was the last time she did a decent movie? Holy cow! I know an easy answer to that, and it's never.
Yes, never. She could be Lamar Woodley. I don't even know. Who's the guy in MMA? Woodley. It could be him. I wouldn't even know. I don't even know who she is. Congratulations to him, but it doesn't mean.
Hey, let's give Tyrone Woodley a little bit more respect there, Pete. Not Lamar. Tyrone Woodley, great fighter, MMA, and let me not forget, we covered bare knuckle boxing this weekend, BKFC, and I'll tell you what, Pete, that is one of the best in high rising combat sports out there right now. If you like combat sports, get out to rocketsports-ent.com and check out our coverage of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship held at the fairgrounds.
Love it.
That's not what I was calling. But we all know Rodgers had one move, and that was to show up at camp tomorrow, and that was it. What was he going to do? Not show up and lose $35 million? He had no options, Pete. They had zero options. Even if they would have traded him to Denver, he still would have cost them $37 million in cap space, I believe, if Denver wouldn't have taken any of that money. So once again, he had no moves. One more for the road for him and Devontae Adams with the Packers this year. And look out. Green Bay is once again going to come up empty when they lose to either the Dallas Cowboys or the Buccaneers in the playoffs in some capacity. So it's going to be once again they're going to fall short, and the owners are going to be left with only one championship under Rodgers and one championship under Favre. One of the most, I don't know, what do you say there, Pete? You know, yeah, you got two championships, yeah, but with those quarterbacks, you think you would have gotten a little bit more out
You
of
have
these
two of the
teams, wouldn't
greatest
you say?
quarterbacks in the last 30 to 40 years, and you have two championships to show for it. And I get it. The Packers are a prestigious organization with a lot of rich history, but at the end of the day, it's kind of a missed opportunity. And you see the point of Rodgers, you know, with drafting his heir apparent in a Jordan Love, but not going after a wide receiver who, by the way, could have made a difference in that NFC championship game, but that's neither here nor there. Why have you wasted so much time? With that being said, do you think this has an effect with the locker room? And do you see the Packers kind of taking a step back to where the Chicago Bears with Justin Fields, and I get it, you're a Bears fan, but they still have a defense. And of course, the Minnesota Vikings have an opportunity to possibly steal some wins from them, or no?
Maybe steal, maybe split and go 500, at least one of those teams, or maybe both of those teams. But you still have to put the Packers as head and shoulders the class of that division. And, you know, I don't think it actually has anything to do with the locker room. The fan base, yes, but, you know, the fan base is still going to show up because they love their Packers and are going to support them, whoever's underneath center. But, you know, once again, Pete, I think the Packers will be there. They're going to make another deep run in the playoffs and come up against either a formidable, you know, Dallas Cowboys team or a Buccaneers team and to get knocked out of the playoffs. So, like I said, nothing happens in that locker room with Rodgers complaining about his contract, complaining about management, because they probably see it's a players' league and the players stick together, for the most part, no matter what.
I don't know if we talked about this. We got Travis Faley of Rocket Sports and Entertainment, my Tampa Bay Lightning insider, and of course my Around the NFL insider here on the Sports Web Live on NSPN, and of course I Love St. Pete. With Tom Brady and the whole declaration of him playing through a torn MCL, does it make this Super Bowl more significant than the first, in your opinion?
It's just, you know, you can't even put a value on it. You know, it's Tom Brady. You know, can't say it was expected, but, you know, they went all in on that team, on the team last year by bringing Brady in and giving them the weapons and giving them a rock solid team. And if you can't say they're pushing their chips all into the middle once again, you're not paying attention, because, you know, like I said, Pete, I don't value one over the other. I mean, I look at the Lightning and what they did with the 3 championships, and it's really hard. You know, as a fan, maybe as an analyst, you can probably give a little bit more value to what Brady did with a torn MCL. And trust me, I've had him before, and it's not a fun injury. Let me tell you, it's nothing like a torn labrum in the shoulder type of recovery, because that's just a monster. But
Sure.
MCL's an MCL. If you fall wrong, it's still hella painful. And I'm sure he was taking some shots throughout the course of the season, just like our buddy number 86, Nikita Kucherov, was taken to his lower back with the broken rib and all that. So, you know, these guys are professional athletes, and they got the best pro regimens as far as training out there and meds and everything, Pete. So I expect nothing but that from Tom Brady when he's going for his 7th championship. And look, you got it, baby. That's all that counts.
Yeah, and now some people saying, you know what, the NFL is going to suspend Tom Brady and possibly the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with a fine, some draft picks, even the possibility of Roger Goodell suspending a Tom Brady. What do you think happens here? Do they get suspended with a fine or draft picks, or do they actually suspend a Tom Brady? And should the NFL do that?
For not being on the injury report?
Yeah.
I tell you, you know, sometimes it's better not to be on the injury report, because what happens? Guys go after knees.
Sure.
You know,
but I mean, really, is there an advantage at the end of the day? And for me, I look at it from the standpoint of the National Hockey League. You have an upper body injury, you have a lower body injury. Why wouldn't the NFL kind of embrace something along those lines if they're so about injury situations? Is it the gambling aspect, in your opinion?
Yeah, absolutely. It's 100%, Pete. You know, this team is, or this league is ran on gambling. They wouldn't put the over-unders out there, and they wouldn't talk about gambling on a regular basis on the broadcast if it wasn't. I mean, it's considerable. I mean, you look at live betting now. It's not even before the game, or weeks before the game. It's during the game that you got live betting going on.
Yep.
You look at some of the stations, you look at most of the sports now, they're running live bets either on the scroll or in some capacity, especially in MMA. I mean, it's the biggest thing in MMA is that live betting. But, I can't see Goodell suspending Brady. I could see them maybe giving up a third round or a fourth round draft pick, but I'll definitely look into this a little bit more. I'm sure, it's sports. The monster that we all know of, Leo Haggerty, will probably have a little bit more info on that, especially when he gets out to One Buck Place out there and has a little bit more insight in that regard. But maybe they'll do it. But then again, what's going to happen then? The Buccaneers will take their whole team like Belichick does and put him on the injury report. Why not? At that point, seriously though, Pete,
right?
Belichick's been doing it for years,
right?
So why not?
Why not? Deshaun Watson, what's going to happen with that situation? Reports from Ian Rappaport today say now the Texans are willing to listen to offers. What this tells me is, first, they got tipped off by somebody that basically Watson is going to get suspended. And if you're an NFL team like the Miami Dolphins, the Denver Broncos, or the Philadelphia Eagles, why would you give up multiple draft picks and possibly players for a guy that has so many red flags, namely those 24 allegations, which, by the way, grew by 2 tonight? 24 allegations. I don't care if you settle all day long. The NFL is going to have their day. How do you think that situation works out?
It's got to be at least almost half a season at this point, right?
Right.
I mean, you almost have to say eight games almost, and you never kind of up for that long of a term during the season, during any season. But
sure.
You gotta pay the piper, and I guess Roger Goodell is going to be the piper in some capacity, and the fans, because the fans are going to be taken away from, once again, from a true talent out there. And would you give up 3 number ones and two maybe somewhere down the line? I don't know.
Not me.
Deshaun Watson's a fantastic player, but you're going to lose him for one of his, or at least half of his prime year. It's got to come down to that, Pete. 22, and now you're saying 24. It's it's not like it's 1. It's not like it's 3. It's not like it's 5. It's 22, man. It's 24. It's double digits. Where there's got to be smoke, there's fire, right?
Right. I mean,
you got a California wildfire going on with Deshaun Watson.
I mean, it really is. It's a bad situation. I think it's a black eye. And somebody told me today, well, Ben Roethlisberger got away with this, but the social media climate is different now. You have the Me Too movement. Everybody's getting offended by anything and everything. So I cannot see the PR nightmare if the NFL decided to, basically a slap on the wrist. I cannot see him getting off on any shorter than 12 games.
Yeah, there's no way. I don't know. I probably see 8 games, but
okay.
It's got to be in the CBA. So they're going to go at least a minimum of 6, and then see where it goes from there. And if this guy gets on anything and he has to start settling, I think it goes for a year. Once you start doing settlements with these people and actually saying, okay, hey, I possibly did this, or get any kind of guilty verdict, I think it's got to be a year at that point. They're not going to put up with this stuff, especially like you said, with the temperature in the room or the temperature in the country or whatever. I think you got to put your foot down in this regard. It doesn't matter who the player is.
All right, Travis Fadley, you got to put my foot down. I saw the top wide receiving rankings from Madden 22. They got Devontae Adams, number 1 from the Packers, 99 overall. Number 2, DeAndre Hopkins, 98. Number 3, Tyreek Hill, 98. Number 4, Stephon Diggs, 97. Number 5, Julio Jones, 95. The problem for me is he only played in 9 games last year, and yet I'm looking at Mike Evans there, first receiver in NFL history to have 7 consecutive 1,000-yard receiving seasons. Did Madden mess up? Should they have him ranked higher than Julio Jones, Michael Thomas, Keenan Allen, and Amari Cooper? Stats say otherwise.
Oh, wow. He's below Amari Cooper. That's ridiculous.
I mean, you look at Cooper's statistics, 92. Right.
I put Diggs in there at least at 3 feet. I think Diggs is better than Tyreek Hill in the grand scheme of things. I mean, I love what that guy can do from an overall wide receiving perspective. But yeah, Amari Cooper, I mean, I put Allen Robinson over Amari Cooper all day long. Are you kidding me?
I agree. Allen Robinson's ranked at 90. He's got 102 catches, 1250.
90?
Yes, 90.
That's a
Yes.
crime.
That's what I'm saying. And you used to be a game tester for Madden. What has happened to Madden, and will this get better with, of course, possibly some competition, or basically are we doomed to play this game where it's the same gameplay, we're still going to buy it, and they're going to have these whack-ass ratings, if you will?
There's no competition, Pete. You know that. EA Sports rules the world. That's it. As far as sports games are concerned, you know it. I mean, there are some franchises out there that might give them a little bit of a whiff, but not when it comes to football. No way. Men's been the be all end all for many, many years, Pete. And you know this, and all the guys out there that play the games, I mean, the tournaments and the online play. And I can't believe we're talking about Madden right now, but you are correct. And don't get me wrong, I do like Tyreek Hill, but I just can't see Julio Jones being ranked
at 95. The guy can't even play a whole season. I get it. He's on the Titans. Everybody embracing it. But if you want to talk about somebody being ranked high, it actually should be his teammate, A.J. Brown. All right, really quick, I'm going to finish out with this and get you out of here. Travis Feely of Rocket Sports and Entertainment, one of the hardest working people I know in any business this day and age. The Tampa Bay Lightning with Yanni Gourde. How surprised were you, and how much of a loss is it going to be to this team? And what is this team going to do in the offseason to recoup some of these lost players?
Well, they're going to have to bring some guys up and try to solidify that the fourth and the third and the fourth line. I mean, losing Barclay Goodrow, which we knew that was going to happen, and Coleman's going to be gone too. So they're going to lose their whole third line, but they got some guys coming up. And you asked me what I thought, or was I surprised in that? I wasn't surprised at all, Pete. And I think just from my tone and what I've said previously, covering the Lightning, I mean, to me, it's tough. I've been thinking about this seriously. I mean, I love Braden Point, don't get me wrong, but Yanni Gourde is everything I want in a hockey player. I mean, he's got the like I said, the heart, the hustle, the muscle, and he can put the puck in the net. He'll be on the, arguably the number 2 line on that team. So he's going to have more opportunities to play, more opportunities to score. And he's going to give, he's got the heart, man. And that's what we look for. You look for Marty St. Louis, he can, obviously Marty's a little bit better, or was a better offensive player, but, he plays the PK, he plays the power play, he plays, just everything. It's a huge loss, not only for the team from a franchise standpoint, but for the fans. Because once again, I mean, he'll always be one of my favorite players to ever play this game. Not only just a Lightning player, but to ever play this game. And I've been watching this game for 40 years.
All right, there you go. Travis Feely, my Tampa Bay Lightning insider, and of course, around the NFL insider here. Go ahead and promote yourself, and we'll get you out of here on that.
Well, I appreciate the time, guys, and I appreciate everybody listening out there. Once again, rocketsports-ent.com. We just covered REO Speedwagon. We covered Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, from everything from the weigh-ins to, it was a fantastic event. I can't promote it enough. It's just so great. Even the worst fights, not the worst fights, but the preliminary fights that half the crowd's not even in the building, were some of the best fights I've ever seen. Just fantastic. So get out to rocketsports-ent for the coverage. And don't forget, Metallica just got announced down at Hard Rock, the casino down in Fort Lauderdale, for 5,500 people, guys. 5,500 people. Get your tickets. Metallica, Hard Rock, down south, 5,500 people capacity. Guns N' Roses down there, 5,500 people capacity.
No.
And this is right after, Pete, not the same bill. This is right before they play in front of 40,000 people on a Friday and a Sunday night out in Daytona. So get your tickets for, once again, Metallica down south at the Hard Rock. Once again, 5,500 capacity. But thanks again for your time. And Metallica's got to pay me for that promo. Oh, boy.
Favorite Metallica song of all time?
Favorite Metallica song, probably Four Horsemen, maybe.
I like it. For Whom the Bell Tolls. I was going to think about that. That's one of mine. So For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Definitely nothing off the Black album. Probably maybe something off And Justice, not one. I'm more of a deep cut kind of guy. I love Ride the Lightning. I like Fight Fire with Fire, stuff. I'm old school, baby. I'm old and I'm old school. 51 years old, Peter.
Love it. Love it, man. 51 years of knowledge here live on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television, the Sports Web Live on NSPN. And of course, I love St. Pete. I'm your host, Peter Blake. Thanks a lot, Travis Feely. Appreciate you. All right.
Thanks, brother. Take care.
All right, there you go. Good stuff there. We'll wrap this show up with these comments, and then we'll get you out of here. Pretty entertaining night, right? Not bad. Kind of know what I'm doing. Been away for a little bit. Told you I got the vaccination this weekend. Got the first shot because I had COVID 90 days ago. By the way, not something I want to go through. Okay? You know, not like, you know, go to the ice cream shop, get an ice cream with sundae, you know, like a sundae with some chocolate sauce on it and some nuts. Not something I want to go through. Vaccination, not too bad. 1 day of it, 1 day of effects. It's 95%. So, but went through that this weekend. Felt great tonight to come on this show and talk Bucs football because we got training camp and talk around the NFL with the situations playing out and Aaron Rodgers. Deshaun Watson, what do you think about it? The rest of the National Football League. All right, let's see here. Let's go out to Elizabeth Gonzalez. The spread for the Cowboys-Buccaneer game in week 1 should be 17. Let's be honest, and remember, I said it. Okay, I got you down. I'll put you down for it. Bucs time 12. There just may be more skilled players on the Buccaneer roster than all the players Brady played for in New England. Agree? How could you not? And a lot of these guys can stay healthy, knock on wood. It's going to be even better offense this year. Seriously. Get ready, Bucs fans. I'm serious. It's going to be a great year. What's up, Peter Ray? What's up, Sitton? How you doing? Let me go ahead and fire those cannons. Christopher Cole, Cowgirls won't win unless Jerry Jones steps back. I've been saying that for years, so I'll give you a whoop. All right. I've read that comment already. Rodgers is such a sellout. If that nonsense was all about money, that's what it was about. Laugh out loud. Mike Evans, 91. Great show. Thank you, Ricky Blanco. Aaron Rodgers going to retire before he gets traded. Well, I don't know necessarily stunning. I think that's stunning, right? Thanks a lot for tuning in. Haven't seen you in a while. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. We'll see. But he's definitely 1 year. He's going to have 1 year with the Green Bay Packers. And then basically, they're not going to be able to tag him. He's going to be able to go on his merry way. And who knows what team he's going to choose. Whatever team he wants, I guess. And there was a report that he wants to be paid like Patrick Mahomes. Good luck. Good luck. You're getting up there in age, my friend. I'm not sure if you warrant that type of contract. Once again, follow the blueprint, if you will. Tom Brady's taking less money. Maybe take less money. Give your team the opportunity. Just saying. Simple economics. Give and take. Supply and demand. See, I did learn something in high school and college. Will the NFL have full stadiums with the surge in cases? Remains to be seen. You know, I think this could be an ongoing problem, and hopefully it's not. Hopefully we're not sitting here talking about halfway open stadiums, right? I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, you know, I know everything because I'm not a doctor. I told you I got vaccinated. I told you I had COVID. It worked differently on me. I had a fever, I had chills for a day, and then I was good to go. I get it. People are saying it's not FDA approved. There's a lot of things you put in your body that are not FDA approved. Come on. Let's stop with that. You weightlifters out there who do whey protein, not FDA approved. We don't even know what some of the things they put in our food are FDA approved, but they put it in there, we eat it. Namely fast food. You ever been to, I don't know, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, any of those places? Yeah. Not FDA approved. I'm just saying. So where I stand on that, I want to see the NFL, of course, succeed. I don't want to see superstars miss. I don't want to have these conversations of, well, this NFL player is not going to do it, so he's going to be fined every time he's unvaccinated. Or there's an outbreak on the team, so Roger Goodell says this team forfeits. Really? We're going to go there? Come on. Who wants to see that? That's no fun. So hopefully there is a full stadium, and hopefully we can get this under control. But we'll do it together. We'll be here on NSPN, and of course, I love St. Pete on the sports web. Good question. Jim says, nice show as always. Jim, I missed you. Damn it, Jim. I missed you. You haven't called me in a while. Your fans come out of the woodwork. I missed you. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't retire. I think there's a lot of people who thought I retired. When I retire, please let me know. I ain't done. I ain't close to being done. Trust me. I got a lot more where this came from. A lot more. Has been a while. Been basking in our Super Bowl glory. I think that's what everybody was doing. The fans were sitting back, smoking cigars, drinking adult beverages, if you will. You know what I'm talking about. Feeling good about it. And you should. Because your Bucs fans went through it throughout the years. You did. I love it. I love getting up every day and saying this team is Super Bowl champions and they're world champions and nobody can take it away. Not national media. Not Tom Brady haters. Matt Kellerman. Shannon Sharp. I love it. And then the fact of this being the team that's going to try to repeat with returning all their players. Beautiful. Love it. So enjoy it. All right, so let's see here. I got my first shot this weekend. Me too. Shot didn't bother me. The after effects did, and it took a day. Let's see here. What are your thoughts on the new Madden rankings? Mike Evans is 91. Godwin didn't even crack the 90s. EA clearly is not paying attention to Godwin. Yeah, I don't get that. You know, we've been talking about ad nauseum about Madden ratings, and people go, well, why are you talking about video games? Well, it's the NFL, and there's a lot of NFL fans that play it. And of course, being in this social media climate, players pay attention to this. And how is Godwin not in the top 10 with those stats? 65, 847 touchdowns. His stats are better than, check this out, Michael Thomas, who's ranked at number 6. Julio Jones, oh my God. So theoretically, what you're telling me is that 2 of the Buccaneer wide receivers have a case to be in the top 10 for Madden ratings, right? But surprise, surprise, to steal a line from my boss, other boss, first job, shocker. Didn't happen. Why? No idea. Call EA. I don't know. Tweet at him. That's what everybody does. Tweet, twit, whatever. Feel like a twit when I'm on Twitter. Devontae Adams is 99. How much did Devontae pay EA? Well, that's good stats. I mean, 18 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers, boy, 115. Almost 1,400 yards. I mean, I just have a problem with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin not being considered. That's all. I wonder what the rest of the team is going to be ranked. I mean, I get it. Tom Brady's on the cover. Don't think he's the 99. The injury should be at 99 because the guy played through a torn MCL. I know it's a video game. I get it. There's a lot of people out there. I don't play video games. I don't have time for it, but I do. So just saying. All right. Thanks a lot to our guest tonight, the great Leo Haggerty, legend, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions. It's Sports Mag. And of course, we had Jason Powers on Sports Podcast, Travis Faley of Rocket Sports and Entertainment. I was trying to get off, but guess what? Guess who calls? It's my old co-host from a radio station in a galaxy far, far away. So we'll stay on here. Maybe we'll go 3 hours tonight. Let's go out to Sean, the Sports Don. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television now on NSPN. And of course, I Love St. Pete. How you doing tonight, boss?
What's going on with you, Spider?
Well, a lot of things to talk about. You've been a stranger lately, so it's good to hear your voice. I'm not going to play. Man. I'm not going to play any walk-up music for you because we all know you're going to bust into
music.
it.
No walk-up music.
I know you're going to play in. I know you're going to start singing. What was it you used to sing from?
Ain't nobody dope as me. I'm just so fresh, so fresh and so clean.
All right, I like it.
Yes, sir.
I like it. I
yes,
can get down with it. All right. So Bucs training camp. What are you looking forward to the most?
I'm looking forward to these guys not resting on their laurels, okay? Because we are in a situation now, the Bucs can actually solidify themselves. If they win 2 right now, they can solidify themselves as one of the best teams I won't say in history, but yeah, you can probably put them up there in history if they play like the way they're supposed to play, because they can actually go out here and dominate. Put your name in the greatest teams that they've talked about. Put yourself, make a legacy. Don't just be that one-off Super Bowl champion. Let's get you 2 back-to-back. We just saw the Lightning do that. That's what the Bucks mindset need to be. Don't rest on your laurels. Don't think what happened last year is just going to happen this year, because these teams we're playing against, they have changed. Their dynamics have changed. Who they are as a team has changed. And go by the way we have to change too, but also perform at a high level. So that's the main thing I'm looking for in this preseason. Are these guys still hungry, or are they resting on their laurels?
Yeah, and I don't think BA is going to let them do that, because he was upset today because this team, he feels like this team is not in shape. They're not able to handle the heat, but we know they're going to get that under control. Any concerns at this point? Cameron Brate going on the PUP list. O.J. Howard, of course, coming off that injury. Tight end situation a little bit thin. Well, any concerns with this team at this point?
No concerns. I mean, AB is not playing right now.
Right.
I mean, you do this in the first couple days of there are no pads on. Like, there's no reason to force OJ Howard or AB out there. I don't know what Cameron Brate, they haven't really come out and said, unless you know what Cameron Brate's issue is.
Right.
But I'm not hearing that he's not going to be ready for the first game of the season. You can be on the PUP list right now and be ready for the first game of the season.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm not concerned right now, because again, you're talking about 3 days into training camp. So these guys are getting their legs on them. I'm seeing a lot of other guys getting some run with the first, second team, like someone like Joe Tryon, Darden, our little wide receiver. I saw he got a lot of reps with Tom Brady today. So you're mixing in some players that you may need if AB gets hurt during the year, or if Gladwin gets hurt. Can Darden step up and be that guy and could be effective in this offense, getting the timing down with Brady? We already know you got the speed. So now, can you actually be a weapon on this team if we call upon you? Even if the guys aren't hurt, if we call upon you, can you go out there and make some plays? So this is a good time for those players who probably won't get a lot of reps during the regular season, or when we start really ramping things up, they get some reps now. So that's not a concern to me whatsoever.
And we're on with Sean, the Sports Don, my former co-host from a radio station in a galaxy far, far away, here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television, live on NSPN. Of course, I love St. Pete. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about with Tom Brady and the declaration that came out lately that he played through a torn MCL. Do you value this Super Bowl more than the first one? And what kind of perspective does it change your perspective on this Super Bowl win by the Bucks?
No, I mean, I think all players play with injuries. Obviously, that was one that everyone talks about, but that's not an ACL; it's an MCL. And I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that what he did was you shouldn't commend it. Of course, you commend it. But if he's able to be out there, these players always said, "Hey, man, if I'm out there, then I'm not hurt. I'm not injured." You know what I'm saying? So that's what Tom Brady's basically told you. Yeah. I can withstand this pain. I can go out there and play. Now, what's good for Buck fans is the fact that he should be healthy. Now, he doesn't have those same quote-unquote limitations, but he's not going to turn into Michael Vick next year just because he got his knee fixed. He's going to still be Tom Brady, but he's going to be able to be a little bit more nimble, or be able to slide in that pocket. So I look at it from that perspective, that he's healthier now, and being that he's 44, he's going to need to be healthier, and I can't wait to see what it looks like. I know these guys going to be more in tune with one another. They felt like they were just peaking. They feel like there's so much more they can tap into. So if they haven't rested on their laurels and they're ready to tap into that, I can't wait. I'm Bart Scott. I can't wait.
Can't wait. I love it. And I think this offense will be a lot better because Brady's being comfortable with this offense. He's not going to have to learn it. He's going to know it, carrying over the momentum and having the weapons that they added. With that being said, do you expect the NFL to suspend Tom Brady or take away draft picks and fine the Bucks for not disclosing that injury in the first place?
Well, I don't know what the NFL is going to do. I'm not in that front office. I do know, I believe they are in a tight spot right now, because I don't think with the COVID year that you had last year, you see it's about to spike again. I don't think they want to start that first game with the Cowboys and the Bucks without Tom Brady playing. So I don't know if Tom Brady will be suspended. Now, will the Bucks get fined? I think that's a very strong possibility. Will they lose some draft picks? If they also did that, then I could say, okay, that they're just letting the rest of the league know, hey, there was some precedents before that we did this, and we find some teams lost draft picks by not doing. The Patriots, by the way, lost some draft picks by not doing certain things the right way, the proper way, Deflate Gate, or even Phone Gate, whatever the case you may want to say. But I don't think Tom Brady is in any way, shape, or form a threat to be suspended. Now, I want to go back to that one thing you asked about Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians right now has to be, can I say this word, the D word on your platform?
It
ends with a K.
Ends with a K. He's determined. We'll leave it at that. He's determined.
I think he has to be a butthole. He has to be a butthole. He has to be a butthole. So when you see him talking about these guys coming back in without being in shape, he cannot leave any stone unturned right now. He has to continue to drive home a point. And I thought it was very apropos that he did that by saying, hey, you did not train in Tampa or in Florida. You knew that's where you're going to play. You were being a dumb behind by not being here, getting yourself prepared for what you got to go through here.
Right.
So he's disappointed in them for not coming back. So from that perspective, those, not everybody, but I'm sure that there's some that have come back sluggish and not ready for this heat. And it's like, bro, we trying to go for 2, but you not to come back in shape. That's bad on you. I'm calling you out. I didn't call you out individually in the press, but I guarantee the ones that are sluggish, he's called them out behind closed doors. He called them out in practice. And what he's trying to let you know is what you did last year means nothing. It means nothing. It's a new day. You can't rest on your laurels.
It's absolutely a new day in Tampa Bay. Okay, let's go back to not showing up here. And Aaron Rodgers, what do you make of that situation? It was about money, as my father would say, Rich from Clearwater, as we're familiar with him. It wasn't about the Packers organization. It was about money. So now he's going to get his wish, and then on top of it, he's going to be a free agent. They're not going to be able to franchise him.
Well, no, it's not about money because he turned down that they wanted to make him the highest paid football player, not just the highest football player in the NFL. He turned that down.
But he didn't want to be with the Packers, but he wants to still get paid in 1 year with the Packers and then basically get out.
No. But he's not getting paid the highest paid. Like the Packers want to extend his contract and make the highest paid. So it's not about money. He doesn't want to be with the Packers. So whatever's going on in that front office and with him and the Packers, he is done with it. And the Packers got to figure out a way to sweeten it. And obviously money is not the issue because when you offered him and to make him the highest paid football player in NFL history, and he has turned it down, that tells you it's not about money. It's something going on there. They better figure it out because if they don't, and if he doesn't show up, well, the Packers are also ran this year because that guy Love is not ready to be Aaron Rodgers or not even ready to be Teddy Bridgewater at this point.
Well, I'm telling you right now, I don't even know what he is, but not a lot of confidence in him because, look, if you had confidence in him, I think you would trade Aaron Rodgers, and you didn't do that. So to me, in my opinion, I don't think Love is necessarily ready to play. With that being said, Adams today, Davante Adams, not only ranked the number 1 wide receiver in Madden, posted on his Instagram like a last dance with Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. I guess it's the last time.
I think Aaron did it the same one too, that same day.
I mean, come on, really? The last dance with these guys? I mean, come on. Nobody's Jordan here. Nobody's Pippen. I get what they're trying to say, but
they're saying like it's our last dance, or and again, there's something in that background with the Packers that they have to figure out. And we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, but let's even talk about Deshaun Watson. Now we're seeing the Houston Texans are all right. Now they're open to trading Watson. They should have traded him a long time ago. They should have traded him a long time ago.
Well, to that point, Shawnee, Deshaun shouldn't have signed that extension once they got rid of his number one wide receiver to Arizona. That's a dumpster fire. Anytime you trade DeAndre Hopkins, which, by the way, is the number 2 ranked wide receiver in Madden. It's Madden night here. We're ranking, because I'll get back to that in a moment. Anytime you trade one of the best wide receivers for basically nothing in David Johnson, that to me doesn't warrant, signing a contract extension. Furthermore, that tells me that the Texans got tipped off by somebody that the NFL is going to come down on him hard. So how do you think this plays out? If you're the Miami Dolphins, if you're the Denver Broncos, if you're a team out there,
Philly,
even the Philadelphia Eagles, are you giving up multiple draft picks and players for a guy that didn't even know if it's going to play this season?
Obviously we had COVID going on and stuff. I can't remember if Deshaun signed his contract before DeAndre Hopkins was traded or after. But
after. I know for a fact.
Hold on. In any case, he signed it because at that time he signed it. He was like, maybe we could be okay. And also maybe you guys were going to do some things, again, have me involved in some of the decision-making processes moving forward. And you didn't do it.
Bro, I don't buy that, because if they wanted to have him, if they wanted him on this conversation, if they wanted him to have some player personnel decisions, do you honestly think your franchise quarterback would get rid of your number 1 wide receiver? Now,
No. I'm talking about if he signed it.
He signed it after. I know for a fact, because I came on my show ranting and raving about it.
Okay, but what my point is, and if he signed it and they told him that, but they traded DeAndre Hopkins without consulting him, he got sour then. And then they started making other moves, and it's like, wait a minute. Yes,
this is how it happened. They traded him before he signed his contract extension.
Okay.
And then he signed a contract extension.
Okay, but my point is, if you told me I'm going to have some type of say, and after they traded him and he told me I'm gonna have some say, and then you do things and I don't have say, and by the way, when it's time to get a coach, you don't have who I said I wanted to be my coach, you don't bring me in. Those things start trickling down. And make no mistake about it, Andre Johnson came out when Deshaun Jackson first started talking about being traded.
Deshaun Watson, not Jackson.
Deshaun Watson, when he first started talked about being traded, Andre Johnson came out and started blasting the front office and that organization because he lived it. He already knew. So I'm not going to get mad at Deshaun Watson, especially when someone like Andre Johnson is a professional and is a man among men and just a great guy. He wouldn't just do that. So now when you see Russell Wilson, when you see Aaron Rodgers, when you see those guys looking at Tom Brady going to a whole new organization and having a say. Oh, by the way, Tom Brady being in his own organization couldn't even have a say. These guys are understanding I could have a say, and you know what? Some things could possibly happen better for me. So the NFL is finally now getting to the point what the NBA players have figured out a few years ago with LeBron James. If I'm that guy, if I have that status, you need to listen to me sometimes, or listen to me a little bit, and therefore I'm not necessarily trying to leave if you give me a little bit of say-so of what's going on. Tom Brady, we've heard Arians say, we sent Tom Brady a tape on Darden, and what did Tom Brady tell him? Draft that guy if you can.
Right, but
because they let him look at it.
But that's the difference, though. They didn't do that in the first place. So why would he think anything different? They didn't give him any say on the Hopkins situation. No, because if they did, Sean, the trade wouldn't have happened. Show me the actions, not your words.
No. My point is, again, you just told me Hopkins was traded first.
Right. So why, if you're Deshaun Watson, okay, and you're sitting in this position, and you hear from the outset, I'm going to have say on the player personnel decisions, and then they trade your best weapon without consulting you, what do you think is going to happen? You're not going to sign a contract extension with them.
No, but what I'm saying is when he signed the contract, that's probably what they told him. We don't know when it happened. So you're speculating.
I know when this happened. He signed the contract extension after they traded a DeAndre Hopkins.
Right, he did, but we don't know. Right, but we don't know if when he signed it, he did not have that guarantee that you're going to be part of some type of personnel situation. But when he signed it, they probably told him you will. And things that transpired after that, he saw he did not have same thing. So therefore, he is in a situation, he's looking at his team. He had a great year statistically last year, but his team only won 4 games.
Well,
and now we're firing our coach. He's telling me I get to have a say in who we're going to hire. And then when I say, hey, my guy from Kansas City, let's look at him. We don't even interview him. And then when I say I want to be traded, then you bring in a coach and he's black. But now you're looking at it as if, you just bringing in a black coach because
they
I'm
got
a black
Lovie
quarterback.
Smith, they got Cully. I mean, it's Bucks guys. I mean, look, I get what you're saying.
It's like, come on, man.
But there's a direct correlation here, Sean. And the thing is, all these quarterbacks you're talking about, they're all highly paid. Well, here's the thing. They hindered their teams from going out there and getting players for them. They do.
Dude,
it's it is a simple fact of life. Look at what Tom Brady is. The Tom Brady 12.
You're talking about one quarterback. All the quarterbacks that won when Tom Brady was not winning Super Bowls, guess what? They were highly paid. So we're not
that's the
talking
problem.
About that.
You haven't had a consistent quarterback like this in years. And the reason why you have a consistent team like this is because the quarterback has taken less money for his team to contend.
And I keep telling you, if Tom Brady and I make money based off other endorsements, and if I make money because my wife makes more money than me, I can take less money.
Okay.
But if I'm a quarterback that my family's broke and I'm the sole breadwinner, I'm going to take money from my family to eat. Now, at the end of the day, that does not mean that the organization, because at the end of the day, you still got a salary cap. So an organization has to say, this is the cards I've been dealt. How can I be great with the cards I've been dealt? We can't tell this other guy to go do something, sacrifice, and we're not. See, here's the thing. The reason why Tom Brady, you know why Tom Brady came here? Tom Brady said, I came here because Mike Evans is here. I came here because
I'll tell you why Tom Brady came here.
Hold on. Let me finish.
Sure.
He said, I came here because Chris Godwin was here. Tristan Wirth, Ali Marpet. You know what those guys were? They were drafted. You know why he wanted to get out of New England? New England has not drafted a Pro Bowler since 2012. Think about that. So drafting and having great players that you've drafted, Devin White, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Antoine Winfield, and Vita Vea, and Levante David, and all these guys that you've drafted, it makes it attractive to a guy that is a stud, and Tom Brady comes here. A lot of teams don't draft well. We keep talking about these guys. If you draft well, guess what? You can be a Super Bowl contender, and it don't matter if you're a quarter. Your boy, Mr. What's his name? Mahomes, make a whole lot of money, but that team gonna be right there in the mix next year. They're gonna be right there.
They're gonna be right there in the mix. But again, the problem with signing a quarterback to a big time contract is it's shown in the past. And the thing is, the reason why Tom Brady actually left New England is because he's kind of in a relationship. He's been taken for granted. He's for years taken less money so New England can go out there and get weapons and keep their team successful. They didn't have enough weapons to go.
You're
doing the
narrative.
But the narrative is correct. The blueprint is correct.
Well, if you go look back between 2011 and I would say like 14, 15, he was not taking less. He was like a top 3 paid quarterback in the league at that time. So he don't always just take less.
But the point is he's made concessions for that organization.
I get that.
But he's given them the flexibility, if you will. You know, the flexibility.
I understand
they haven't had that. That's the thing. I laugh all the time when Seattle and Russell Wilson comes out. Well, we don't have the offensive lineman. Okay, if you take less there.
No, that's not it. If you draft well,
well, they don't draft well. So what do you have to do? You have to go into free agency. You do.
No. That's not the quarterback's problem.
If you don't draft, Shawnee, if you don't draft well, you have to make it up by going in the free agency.
And then that's why your GM should get fired. See, here's the thing: what we're doing now, we're holding these players to a higher standard than we're holding the GM to. Like, I remember.
Look, I'm not the highest. Look, Sean, I'm not the highest paid quarterback in the league complaining that my team doesn't do enough. Okay, that's not me. I didn't sit out here and say that. That's Russell Wilson. That's Aaron Rodgers. That's Dak Prescott.
Hold on. But here's my point. Buck fans, and I've been here. Buck fans said Light needs to go because he drafted Ali Marpet.
Not me, buddy. Never said
yes,
that.
you. Yeah,
oh, I did not. You're full of it. You're full of it.
Ali Marpet. Why didn't we draft the guard from Florida State? We drafted Alex Kappa, a third Division III. Why didn't we draft
I have never said on a show.
We drafted Sean Murphy Button. Why didn't we draft Greedy Williams, even though Greedy Williams was the 9th cornerback pick and Sean Murphy was 4th? But Greedy Williams on the board. Here's my point: is if you draft right, you ain't got to go out into free agency and overspend for some guy that maybe not good.
The question is,
if you're doing great as a drafter and signing great players, when you do sign free agency, you can minimize that, and you got to worry about your quarterback or your wide receivers taking less money.
What do we know about Seattle and their drafting? They do a good job?
Seattle's done a pretty decent job. That's why
then tell me something. If they've done a great job, why do I have my franchise quarterback, who's one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league,
offensive line sucks?
There you go. You haven't drafted the offensive line to get it done. If you came up some of the money, you would be able to go out there and get an offensive lineman.
But that has nothing to do with what I signed for. You've had plenty of opportunity. Let's say this year alone, they had plenty of opportunity to get one of these 5 tackles that was up there, that was willing to be drafted, that will come in and be good football players. Like, you don't let Chris Godwin get to the 3rd. There's a lot of teams out there right now looking for wide receivers, and Chris Godwin went in the 3rd round. And you remember, I told you guys, hey, everybody that's listening to this show,
just keep on patting yourself on the back. You're the president of the Chris
Godwin Club.
You are.
I told everybody.
He's got posters all over his wall, too.
I said, listen,
Chris Godwin and Devin White and all of them.
That's it. That guy would probably be one of the greatest steals in Buccaneer history. The fact that he went in the 3rd round, every team had an opportunity to draft him. And you could have had your number 2 wide receiver number 1, really a long time ago, if you're drafting him. But you let him go to the 3rd round, and the Bucs pick him up. And the Bucs had a late 1st round, 2nd round grade on him. But he was still sitting there at 30. And that's your problem. So when you draft well, then you don't have to go out in free agency and make up for it and spend all this money.
The premise of it, and we're Sean the Sports Don, is if you do not draft well,
then
you have the other tool. Well, you have free agents out there. You can go out there and get them, but guess what? You can't spend at the store because you don't have any money to spend with.
But here's the thing. But you cannot ask any player to take less if they got other things that's going on in their life that you don't know about. And by the way, we're not asking the wide receiver, offensive line, not to come in and be the highest paid guard or the highest paid center, but we're telling the quarterback, you can't go out there and be one of the highest paid quarterbacks because, come on, we're not asking the cornerback not to go out there.
Why not take less and help the team out, restructure the contract like Tom Brady does? Because I don't want to win championships because I want to get the most money. Because I want to be in a Sierra video. Because I don't know. Because I want all the goodies. The goodies bring all the boys to the yard. I don't know. I'm just saying.
No, restructuring a contract don't mean you don't get the money you signed for initially. It just means you kick the can down the road.
There you go. So you kick the can down the road.
No. But the salary cap, you just changed salary cap situation. But it don't mean Tom Brady still is not getting that $25 million he was due to get this year.
Is the window?
We just changed how the $25 million is going to be paid out, but he's still getting that $25 million.
Brady gave them the opportunity. I understand that. But Brady gave them still the opportunity because the window is wide open.
Okay,
for them
Mike
to win
Evans has done that too, and a lot of players restructured their contract.
Okay.
Cameron Brate
and that's why we're talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as Super Bowl champion and possibly a repeat Super Bowl champion because they made the necessary sacrifices to be that.
Out my pockets, brother.
Oh, shut up. You got no money to take anywhere from you at all. You are the most frugal person. If you want to know somebody right here, you try to get anybody to buy a drink or food. This guy is not the one to do it. We're on with Sean the Sports Don. You're an idiot. You're an idiot.
I would buy somebody a drink. I would buy a young lady a drink that looks way better than you, sir.
I hope you do.
You a drink.
I hope you do.
You a drink.
You won't buy me anything. All right. Now, speaking of buying, are you buying these top wide receiving rankings from Madden 22? This kind of pisses me off a little bit. I said piss. You got number 1, Devontae Adams at 99. Of course, had 18 touchdowns. Number 2, DeAndre Hopkins, which, by the way, the Texans traded for a 2nd and 4th and David Johnson. Just reminding you that. Tyreek Hill, number 3. Number 4, Stephon Diggs. Now, here's my problem. Number 5, Julio Jones. 51 catches, 771 yards, 3 touchdowns. Again, everybody is just so absolutely impressed that he's with the Titans, but he's ranked number 5 ahead of Michael Thomas, who had no touchdowns last year. He's number 6. Number 7, Keenan Allen. Number 8, Amari Cooper. And it's sitting at number 9, the only wide receiver in NFL history to have 7 consecutive 1,000-yard receiving seasons, Mike Evans. Tell me this is not a travesty.
Well, let's say this. I don't think it's ever a travesty when someone has their own list. You know what I mean? Because your list.
I get it. It's a video game, but come on.
Well, listen. I'm not just talking about a video game, but we're saying the list. I mean, I've seen lists where Mike Evans is coming in at 7 and 8.
Why?
Right. But my point is, the beauty is eye of the beholder. Okay. But at the end of the day, what do we do know? Are you taking any one of those wide receivers over Mike Evans?
No.
Okay, then. So why do we care? Like at the end of the day, I don't need
because I want to beat you in Madden. That's why I care.
well, see, you talking about Madden. I don't see. That's why I don't play fantasy football. And I rarely. You know what? The last Madden game I brought. I told you this before.
And I beat you in that, didn't I?
No, you never.
I did beat you.
Stop it.
See, selective amnesia, kids. It's happening to him, and it's old age.
Stop it.
You're having dementia right now.
The last Madden I brought, I think it was the one with Barry Sanders on the cover.
Right. Oh no! Are you serious?
Yes,
Barry Sanders.
Yes, and the reason why
you're an old fart.
No, that was 2000. No, that was like 2014, 15 or somewhere like
Barry
that. Right?
Sanders.
Yes, because he was on.
Yeah.
He was
that's
on
still
that,
way back.
Right, that was like 2014, 15. But the reason why that was the last one I brought, that was because that was the last year you had NCAA football, and you can draft your men from NCAA football on the Madden. And so, and at the end of the day, I stopped playing Madden as much as I used to because I got older and everything like that. So I really don't have.
Oh, so you can't play games anymore. You can't play video games anymore. You're too good to buy me wings and a drink, and you're too good to play me Madden. I get you.
No.
The point is. Sean is outgrew me and is outmatured me because he can't play video games. With that being said, did Madden make a mistake by not having Evans at least at number 5? I mean, you can make a case. Julio Jones, I mean, come on, number 5 with the season he had. Michael Thomas, number 6.
Julio, if he's healthy, he can still be very productive.
Is he better than Mike Evans last year?
Not last year.
Okay, that's what it should be based on. That's the rankings. That's what the rankings are based on from last year's statistics.
It should be based on what you think a player is. So if they think that he's better than Mike Evans, then by all means, go ahead. Now, one thing I will say, I've never heard any draft or any list for the last 5 years that ever put Mike Evans over Julio Jones. So if they want to still keep Julio Jones over Mike Evans right now this year, let them do it.
Michael Thomas? You don't have no problem with Michael Thomas? 40 catches, 438.
Those things don't mean nothing to me because I know Mike Evans is Godzilla. Like, I know what I have in Mike Evans. Like,
I agree.
I don't let those things bother me per se. I know, and I got it. These the list, the fans, they get so pissed off and they want to call all these people who are football savants or people that are in football, they want to call them idiots because they don't
idiots.
they don't pick their Buccaneers. It's like, I don't need you to pick Shaq Barrett in the top 5 to know that, you know what, it's okay. I'm cool with Shaq Barrett going to get that quarterback right now. I'm cool with JPP because my team, I can win a Super Bowl with it. Remember, I used to tell you that all the time. Like, everybody want to get rid of Donovan Smith. Like, dude, I can win a Super Bowl with. I won a Super Bowl with Ruben Obin. Like,
Ruben Obin, not Ruben.
I can win a Super Bowl with Donovan Smith as my left tackle. Everybody don't have to be an All Pro. You have a great team all over. And if I have a great team all over, I can care less because at the end of the day, Mike Evans get to say, I got a ring. Name them wide receivers in front of Mike Evans again.
Well, you got Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Julio Jones, Michael Thomas, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper.
Okay, only one has a Super Bowl in front of him.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. So that don't mean anything to me. Where's Mike Evans?
Well, I want to ask you, where is
Super
this?
Bowl? Super Bowl.
You're exactly right. Now, where in the world has this NBA supposed dream team for the Olympics gone, Mr. NBA fan? I mean, all the people saying, you know what, this day and age, these players are a lot better than the older players and all this other nonsense. This has been highly disappointing. You would have to agree, right? Losing to France. I mean, I get it. You got Evan Fournier, one of the great Orlando Magic shooters, but come on. I mean, 0 for 9 with the last 349. Explain this to me. Kevin Durant, Dame, what's going on?
I will explain it to you because, first of all, everybody's looking. I'm gonna try to do it quickly. In 1992, when we first put our stars, the NBA stars in there were only 3 or 4 international players playing in the NBA. So the international teams had to catch up. So the 4, I think it was Drazen Petrovic, Vlade Divac, who was a rookie at the time, Tony Kukoc, who wasn't playing in the NBA. He was coming after the 92 Dream Team. And then I think it was Detlef Schrempf. Those like the only international players playing in the NBA. So now you fast forward that, 20-something years now, 20 years, and now these teams that we're playing against in the Olympics, oh, by the way, they have NBA players. This NBA team that we have out there, they're not the best of the best. They're just NBA players. I mean, we got players on this team that some of them have never even been to an All-Star game. So just because you put them just because they wear USA doesn't mean they're a dream team. It just means they represent the United States. There's no LeBron James out there. There's no Steph Curry out there. There's no James Harden out there. There's no Kyrie Irving out there. There's no Anthony Davis out there. That's 5 players right now. If I guarantee, if I put them on the team, we're smashing them. So if you're looking at the fact that we got Bam Adebayo out there,
you got Kevin Durant, you got Damian Lillard,
but that's still not enough because the teams that we're playing against play together all the time. And oh, by the way, all of them have about 5 or 6 NBA players now on their team. And so they're playing very good basketball. And oh, by the way, international basketball is totally different than NBA because you get to play one-on-one.
It's surpassed the NBA. It's surpassed it now.
You can play NBA, you can play one-on-one, and you could only play not one-on-one, but man-to-man in NBA. In that, you got to play. You can play zone and you can take the ball off the rim. So when you got a guy like, let's say, a 22-year-old guy from Boston, what's his name, that went to Duke?
Jason Tatum?
Jason Tatum. Yeah. Wherein he can be one-on-one, he can shoot the fadeaway. He's very good at that, taking somebody off the dribble and pulling up off the dribble. But if I'm playing in this thing where we can play zone, now I'm asking to shoot a spot up jumper, you're not as good as a spot up shooter. So it changes the dynamic of how great you can actually be because it's a different type of game to figure it out. And we just put 15 players on there. And oh, by the way, it's not LeBron James. It's not Steph Curry. It's not Klay Thompson. It's not, like I said, Anthony Davis. It's not James Harden. It's not Kyrie Irving. It's not Russell Westbrook. Guys that I'm talking about that would definitely be smashing stuff out there. You're asking all these other guys to go out there and be great, and you're not great. You really don't have fundamentally sound in the international ball, you got to be fundamentally sound, and you got to know exactly what everybody's doing. They don't know. You just put 15 guys together and said, oh, and by the way, in 2 weeks, you got to be a cohesive unit. It's easy to do that when you got Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan and stuff, and the rest of the country, the world, don't have NBA players, don't have a level of athleticism. The world have caught up now. So just thinking you can throw NBA players out there, you're gonna win. You're not gonna win.
I just don't think they care anymore. I don't think
no, they care. They care, but it's harder now. It's harder now. And I think, and Greg Popovich said it, and I'm gonna tell you guys this too. You guys are diminishing what do you understand? You said Evan Fournier, but not once did you bring up the fact that Rudy Gobert, Defensive Player of the Year 3 times in the NBA, is on that France team.
Okay.
Not once did you bring up that Nicholas Batum. Now I get it, Nicholas Batum isn't great, but somebody in the NBA gave him a max contract a few years ago, and he got a max contract.
It doesn't necessarily mean they're a great player. I mean, I get it, they play in the NBA.
No, it means that if you fool somebody in the NBA to give you a max, like I would have told you he ain't that dude, but if you fool somebody to give you a max contract,
doing that. They have lots of max contracts out.
No, the Magic don't. But if you give him a max contract, the Magic haven't done that in years because they ain't had nobody to give a max contract to. But if you thought he was a max contract and you've done that, you got 4 or 5 NBA players on your team, plus teams plus other players that play together all year round, so they have a system in place. They know how to play with one another, and you put 15 guys together that really don't know how to play with each other. We used to all being the man on our team, or we don't really have fundamentals together because I'm only 22, 23. That's what you have. If the NBA wanted to really smash it, LeBron, you need to be there. Steph Curry, you need to be there. James Harden,
somebody just wrote this. My poor Hornets overpaid Batum.
Yes, it was the Hornets. But Hornets overpaid.
Look, Michael Jordan is a great player. Let's face it. But he's
not
the greatest.
GM.
He's a terrible GM. He's awful. He's an awful GM.
He fooled Michael. Batum fooled Michael Jordan to give him a max contract, brother.
Okay, so with that being said, great stuff there, Sean, the Sports Don. Do you expect this Olympic team to rebound here, if you will, and win a gold medal, or is it going to be tough?
No. I listen, man. I wish I could. I mean, I'm a cheer for him. I was cheering for him the other day. Watching they will play Wednesday, I think at 12:40. So if you guys get an opportunity to watch it. But I just don't think it's going to be a foregone conclusion. Do they have talent? Can they still win it? Yes, but I don't know if they have enough top end talent to win it, because when I see a guy like I don't know, what was the one guy, Keon Johnson in the game? Like, who is that guy? Like, who is he? Like, he's never even I don't
even know who he is. I don't even know what you said.
Exactly.
Keon Johnson. Okay.
Keon, something like that. Yeah, he's on the team, and it's like, guys, that's
who's the guy who used to play for the Denver Nuggets? He was also a Johnson.
Horace Grant, nephew is on the team.
Is it Harvey?
Not Harvey.
No, that's his brother.
That's his brother.
Jeremy. Jeremy, didn't the Magic trade him?
Not Jeremy Grant. That's the point guard. There's a small forward that played for the Pistons, who used to play for Oklahoma City, had a great year. Then he went over to the Pistons, got paid, but he's on the team. But what I'm saying is that guy, while he's had good years, he's never been an all-star. But he's on the team, and we're saying, oh my goodness, why aren't you guys winning? Like, that's why you're not winning. He's not a guy that's going to go out there and just dominate anybody in front of him. And those dream teams that you're talking about, the 92 or in 94, when Shaq and Penny and Elijah Wan and Alonzo Mourning and Larry Johnson and Gary Payton and Reggie Miller, all those guys on the team, that's a different caliber of team than what we're talking about now. So let's not lose sight of that, and let's not think that Bam Adebayo is Akeem Olajuwon. It's not.
Hey, that's not said by me. That's said by you and all the NBA sycophants that still try to portray this league as being better than what it was with Jordan and everybody else.
No. That's not what I said.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that there are players right now that if we put those top echelon players on this team, they would smash just like those teams did. But we don't have those same players. So if I go back to '94 and I put people like Hershey Hawkins and Kevin Duckworth and stuff like those,
what's
teams,
wrong with Duckworth?
Smashing.
What was wrong with Kevin Duckworth?
Come on, you already know.
He was a good player for Portland.
But of
course, people would say he was UPS driver.
That's Bam Adebayo, but that's not Shaq and Akeem Olajuwon and Alonzo Mourning. I'm saying there's a difference.
Fair enough. Let's go ahead and read these comments. I'll get you out of here for the night. The Sports Web, baby, absolutely. Sean, the sport's gone. It's Sean, the sport's done. We got to get him back on video. He said gone. The only one that called Bucks to draft Godwin in the third was Blake Anthony. I think Blake has taken over the account there of NSPN. That's what Blake says. So we'll have to have you both go on there and
tell
debate.
Him stop that. You already know. I was hitting Kendall Beckwith. Stop it. Whoever said
Kendall
that.
Beckwith, that superstar linebacker that didn't last, although it was the injury situation.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
exactly.
USA.
Year, he was a monster.
He was a monster. USA blew a 6-point lead with just over 3 minutes to go in the game.
Travesty.
My poor Hornets overpaid. Batum, absolutely. It's Blake. I know it's Blake. And Jordan redeemed himself with these new Hornets he drafted. The team is stacked now from good drafting. We'll see. It all remains to be seen.
By the way,
yes.
I want you to tell me again how LaVar was wrong for letting LaMelo go do what he did, because LaMelo is like Penny Hardaway right now. That dude is a problem.
Yeah. What did the other guy do? What did the other guy do?
Oh, he's doing good right now.
I heard he's on the trade block.
No, he's not. He's a free agent. And by the way, did you not see he shown 39% from the 3-point last year?
But he actually didn't he actually distance himself from his father, by the way? Yes, he did. He did.
No. What he did was, I'm not going to be on Baller Brand. He didn't distance himself
he distanced himself from his father.
No, he did not.
Because he got tired of his father coming on shows.
No.
Yes, he did. And saying he could beat Michael Jordan.
I'm not on Baller Brand. Stop it.
Whatever. Baller Brand. By the way, nobody's going to buy a shoe for like $425.
And that's why he went to Nike.
That's just ignorant. Right. Exactly. Nike's the only one. All right. Real quick. Let's wrap it up here, Sean, because we're on 3 hours. I'm on 3 hours straight here on the Sports Web live on NSPN. And of course, I love St. Pete. Giannis with the 50-point effort for the Milwaukee Bucks. Wow, hold on. The Milwaukee Bucks to win a championship in 50 years. What's the significance of this all?
Very significant. I'm glad. Who asked that question? Shout his name out.
Me.
Oh, you okay, well then I won't shout your name out.
Well, then here's what you get for that. That's what you get. How about that?
But that is a great question. I'm going to tell you the significance of this, because 2 or 3 years ago, they were talking about, well, when Giannis thing come up, what are you going to leave? And he said, I love being in Milwaukee. I'm not going anywhere. And then last year when he was a free agency, is he going to leave because they don't give him enough? And he's like, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm trying to be here. And he signed that Supermax. And what he showed is, I don't have to get a super team. I don't have to bring people over here to come play with me. I'm going to do it my way. And everybody can talk about what I can't do, because that's what we do in sports. I always talk about that, Spider. You know it. We always talk about what a person can't do. We always forget about what they can do. And what that dude can do is go out there and dominate the game, both ends of the court. Maybe I can't shoot a jump, but boy, I can get to the hole, and I can set my other teammates up, and I can play defense. And he won it in a small market.
Yes.
I don't have to go to a big market, and I can do it at 26 years old.
Thank you.
Big.
Let the truth set you free. That's exactly what I wanted you to say. He didn't have to have a super team. He didn't have to go on Twitter and try to recruit players and superstars and all this other nonsense. He's a 26-year-old superstar. He's great for the National Basketball Association. It's a small market, and I'm happy for the Milwaukee Bucks, and I'm happy to have you on the Sports
said that, and I am too, but having said that, if Kyrie Irving and James Harden and Kevin Durant was not injured, there's no way they would have won it.
I agree. I agree, because I picked the Nets.
And I'm going to tell you this.
I picked the Nets.
But what we need to stop doing, and I told you this before, Spot, I know you got to go, but this is what we got to stop doing. We got to stop telling these players, if they don't win a championship, they're not great, because that's making them go team up with all these other great players that shift the power of competitiveness, that where we don't get that real competitive fire, where we can look at a team and say, well, I know if you got Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, and Draymond Green, you're probably going to win a championship. If we can stop trying to tell these players they're garbage because they didn't win a championship or beat a team, let's just continue to say, hey, you're a good player. Gannis, you won 2 MVPs. You won a Defensive Player of the Year before you won a championship. Let's not say he'll never reach this guy because he hadn't won a championship before that. He won it now. Let them allow them to do that, because when you don't do that, that's when they go and say, well, if you're going to say I'm not good if I don't win a championship, that's when they team up, man. And I'm glad he did that way. And I'm glad that the NBA had an opportunity to have the Suns and the Bucks, teams that were not super teams, but they were in there, and that was one of the great finals I've ever seen.
It was great, and you're great here. Sean, the Sports Don, of course, it's always great to have you here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Don't be a stranger, all right, boss?
Oh, man, you know what? It was a great night tonight, man. I'm glad you're feeling better, man. And to the all to the sports webs and everybody out there listening, man, y'all stay up, man. Go Bucks. We got another championship we're supposed to get. Oh, we didn't even talk about the Rays. You know what? I hate you about that. Because you know what, man? We got Nelson
I'll tell
Cruz,
you what.
You
saved that for another night.
The Rays going for it.
Hey,
you tell
look,
me now.
I'm loving it. I love the
Okay.
fact. I've been saying that for years now. I'm like McDonald's right now. I'm loving it. You make a trade finally for Nelson Cruz. What took you so long? Then you trade away Rich Hill. So hopefully they make some more moves corresponding. Of course, Luis Patino could be a guy they put into that rotation. Shane Bass, who's another pitcher. So the future is bright for this team, but I want to see this team go for it. And I love the Nelson Cruz move. 21 home runs this year, big time hitter. Even though he's 41 years old, he's a rental. I don't care about prospects. Go and win the World Series. Good stuff there, Sean, the Sports Don.
Yes, sir.
We'll talk more, my friend. Definitely get on the Evolution. We'll get you on video, all right?
All right, brother. You have a good one, man. Everybody, good night.
All right, man. Love you, brother. There you go. Sean, the Sports Don. I mean, who does this? I mean, I've done it before, but let me say it again. Who goes 3 hours commercial free? I mean, we had that little 5-minute block, but really, who goes 3 hours commercial free talking sports? And I think we got somebody else in here. So he's going to try to get me to go more then. Let's go out to Blake Anthony here, Blake and Blake Sports. Make it quick, buddy, because my lungs and my voice here is about to go out. What's going on, buddy? Welcome.
Oh, no, man. I just want to show you some love before you got out of here. It was great seeing you and your old co-host, Sean the Sports Don, back on live, and you two going at each other's necks. It's just beautiful watching it.
Yeah, it's just beautiful. And, of course, we go at it sometimes, but not necessarily like Sean the Sports Don and yours truly here. So anything else, my friend?
Nothing. I said y'all hit some good points today. Madden ratings, talking about Chris Godwin, contracts, and all that stuff. You guys killed it today, man. Just want to say appreciate you coming on here to NSPN Network, giving the fire, the flame, bringing everything but the nonsense today, Peter. We love it.
Love you too, brother. There you go. Blake Anthony of Blake and Blake Sports, of course, coming on here on the NSPN Network here in the future. Have a good night. All right, boss?
See you, boss.
All right, there you go. Mr. Blake Anthony coming in there and showing me love. So like I said, it's NSPN. It's Next Gen Sports Media. Media is evolving. And of course, this is the evolution of Sports Talk Television Live. Do 3 things for me. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake. Have a great night.